So, folks, there's a video I've been wanting to go over for a while, put together by Michael Knowles and Luke Beasley, and it's apparently a Michael Knowles kind of joint thing where it's like two liberals versus one conservative. It's like Michael Knowles is trying to do his own Jubilee in front of like a conservative audience. It's very weird. Yeah, it's a bar debate. Yeah. And he's now done multiple of these, so I think they're going to be recurring, and I feel more compelled to just put out there, don't do this. Hey, fellow lefties online, don't do this. Like, I understand that there's an impulse to want to like get in there and throw some punches at Michael Knowles. I get it. But like, don't do that. You do not have to legitimize a fascist. You do not have to like treat them with kid gloves and make them feel or seem more human. Don't do their work for them, okay? And let's take a look. How did this all turn out? Because I've been meaning to cover this for a while. You might have remembered hearing the opening like 2 seconds of this whenever I've had some audio troubles producing the stream. I apologize for that, but here we go. I've just had it as one of my tabs hanging for so long. All right. Yeah, exactly. Other content creators, you're not Mehdi Hassan, you're not Sam Cedar, don't do it. But especially not in this context, right? Like, let's just dive into this.
No!
Despicable person!
No, I thought
I'm sick and tired of you!
Let me finish. You had a monologue already.
I tell people that Michael Knowles is my internet dad.
Stop
We
it.
got a bar full of people, and you want us to debate HOAs.
Because this is America!
Welcome to Bar Fight. Tonight I'm joined by two libs.
That's my case. I think it's a pretty good one.
My first guest, that is Zina Ikeme.
You've been calling me a lib this whole time. I hate to break it to you. It might be a little bit worse than that.
Uh-oh.
Just be consistent. I've been very consistent.
Luke gets to finish his point.
I think
Start
this bell's
talking.
rigged.
He's my second guest, is one of the top names in online liberal commentary today, Luke Beasley.
Like, just from that intro alone, don't give them this ammunition. Like, you guys see how this legitimizes Michael Knowles. You guys see how it makes him seem more approachable and more normal, right? Like, don't give him that. He's a fucking freak. Okay?
Here is how it works. We have each brought 3 topics to the table. The audience chooses the topics. The bell rings. We'll duke it out for that round. And then our...
Also, the fact that this is produced by the Daily Wire, like, you're not going into a friendly environment here. You're going into a hostile one. And there's no way you're coming out of this looking good.
highly sober patrons can come up to the microphone. Why are they laughing already? How long have they been in? They can go up to the microphones to pick a fight with any of us. If you want to fight me, you go to the blue microphone. It doesn't seem to make a lot of sense.
Why was Luke on Knowles? My point is, he shouldn't have been. I don't know why he decided to go on here, but he shouldn't have.
But that's what you have to do. If you want to fight either of my wonderful guests, you go to the red microphone. But do not wait, because there is a time limit to each round.
No, it is different than the college campus debates, because again, this is content creators doing this. These are people whose job it is to make content online, right? And like, as somebody who does that, I'm just letting you guys know this is a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to debate conservatives. It's not a bad idea to debate, even fascists. But there's a massive caveat there, which is that you have to be setting yourself up to win that debate, as well as, understand what you're getting into, right? Because the thing is here, you are not going to win this kind of debate if you are coming in as the left-leaning person. Because again, the Daily Wire has set this up specifically to benefit themselves, not you. Yeah, exactly, GamerG. You need to consider the lay of the terrain. And the terrain here, Michael Knowles has the higher ground. Maybe some of you understand that reference. Yeah, you gotta pick the battlefield. There has to be, like, at the very least, an impartial moderator, fact-checking. There has to be, like, something like that. Or, if you're going to debate a fascist, you have to have a game plan to make that fascist look and feel stupid. Like, you have to be thinking to yourself, what are the optics going to be in this interaction? Because right here, right in this particular moment, Michael Knowles comes out looking good. You are setting yourself up for failure.
We have over here, for the asker of the best question, a magnificent VIP table where you can have some delicious John Rich Redneck Riviera bourbon, and I think we have some Mayflower cigars. I don't, there's always... There are all these dumb rules in American cities where you can't, like, smoke indoors anymore or whatever. But anyway, I won't pay attention. Lady, gentlemen, are you ready?
Ready.
It's round one. Now we read.
I'm sorry. I was told I'd be debating a real conservative and then leave, humiliating him and wasting his money.
Oh, I'm sure you have to, like, sign some kind of agreement, you know? I totally get the impulse. But I'm sure you are legally obligated to participate at a certain point. Never fight a fascist in their own domain expansion, exactly.
The potential topics. Ladies first.
Thank
Look
you.
at this liberal man was going to cut off the lady.
Come on, Luke, what are you doing? Come on,
Take
Luke.
it away.
Zena, what's your topic?
My first topic is that Donald Trump is a sexual predator.
True.
Pretty simple.
Who cheers for that? That's crazy behavior. Luke?
If the Epstein files were actually released, not whatever the heck he's doing now, Trump's presidency would be destroyed.
It started out with crickets, but okay. My claim is that libs are ruining Thanksgiving and they need to cut it out.
Yeah, so I think we can kind of gauge from the audience reactions to these questions that this is not... Like, this was a bad idea. No one should be doing this.
I actually wanted to talk about the other topics, but Mr. Davies, do we know which topic?
My ear's still ringing from this side. I think Thanksgiving won this round.
Okay, Thanksgiving. It's too bad. Maybe in a bonus round or something we can get back to one of those. Okay. It's very, very frustrating. We've all seen it anecdotally. The libs want to pick fights at Thanksgiving. Sometimes they don't want to show up to Thanksgiving. And sometimes they want to disinvite you from Thanksgiving. This is backed up by empirical data. There's a study came out, I think it was Deseret News, said that 40% of Kamala voters would...
I'm sorry, a study came out of Deseret News? I just want to know. What is the academic track record of the paper publishing of Deseret News? Oh, that's so interesting. Deseret News is a news site and not an academic journal. That's so interesting.
Disown a family member over politics. That is compared to only 11% of Trump voters. Then there was a survey from the American Enterprise Institute showed that 23% of very liberal respondents have, in fact, disowned family over political views compared to just 9% of very conservative respondents. There was one final number comes out of, I think it was the Skeptic Research Center, said that liberals across all ages are more likely than conservatives, much more likely actually, to disown friends and family over politics. And I think that's mean and nasty and wrong. And listen, if I'm willing to have Thanksgiving with my liberal relatives, they should have Thanksgiving with me.
If I'm willing to inflict myself on my extended family, then they should be willing to be inflicted upon. What? Why? What? Oh no, I'm surrounded by people who believe that everyone deserves human rights. Oh no, what an imposition upon me, a conservative.
Do you disagree?
Interesting.
I would say I definitely disagree, Michael, and I think it's because libs have a lot more to disown family members about. I mean, when we look at what the president is doing at our borders, as well as how we're treating, immigrants in this country, I think it's pretty clear that, there's something humane and immoral that's going on. I think that's what's mean and nasty. So,
okay, just on that point.
I'm looking forward to talking at Thanksgiving with my relatives about why their king is still covering up the Epstein files.
Right.
I'm sorry, just real quick. I can't get over this.
I'm
moral that's going on. I think
talking at Thanksgiving with my relatives about why their king is still covering up.
This guy's wearing a fucking Star-Lord jacket, right? Like, that's what this jacket is, right? Like, he's wearing a Star-Lord jacket, and I'm pretty sure he's wearing, like, a Jordan Peterson... Yeah, it's a Jordan Peterson Hail Hydra shirt that says, "Hail Lobsters, clean your room." Holy shit. Oh my god. Alright, sorry. I just was not... I wasn't expecting... like an entire breakdown from just a guy. This is a Nazi bar? Yeah, it's probably the closest bar to Daily Wire Studios.
Is still covering up the Epstein files.
Right.
So I'm
Look, he's not king yet. We're working on it, but he's not king yet.
I don't know if it's going to ruin Thanksgiving, but like she said, if you're the one supporting the guy who's covering for one of the greatest
But see, this is also the thing, right? Like, listen to, like, his quips and the audience reaction, all right?
So
Look, he's not king yet. We're working on it, but he's not king yet.
I don't know if it's going to ruin Thanksgiving, but...
He's not king yet, but we're working on it, and the crowd's just like, ho-ho! Like, it allows these points to become normalized. It allows him to have, like, both in front of an audience and both online and in person, but also their presence here legitimizes the jokes, They can't do these events successfully without left-leaning people.
Like she said, if you're the one supporting the guy who's covering for one of the greatest pedophile rings ever, then yeah, that would be more disown over than what?
Okay, so on that point, he did just sign a bill with almost unanimous support in Congress to release all the Epstein files.
With
exceptions. We'll get to that in a moment.
Purpose, he won't.
I think...
This is also from 3 months ago, so just as an FYI, if the timing seems weird.
So you'd be willing to talk to your conservative friends
of
that
course.
Okay, so then really to Zena's point, I guess you say, look, we have a lot more reason to disown conservatives because we find their policies and their desires morally objectionable. But think about it the other way.
Oh shit, it's MAGA country singer John Rich's bar. That would explain why John Rich whiskey was there. That makes a lot of sense.
You support abortion, I take it.
Yeah, before I would say second trimester, yeah.
Okay. So from my perspective, as a conservative, as a Christian, I don't support abortion. I think it's really bad. I think it's killing babies. I think even the fact that you would put some limits on abortion suggests you might consider that at least at some point too. So I am perfectly willing to sit down with friends and family members of mine who I think support.
We're sitting down right now. What's the point?
Right.
Liberals might be too sensitive. I agree.
So you agree with me? So it's you and me against Zena.
Hold on.
Zena's with me.
Wait,
no, you guys are
Michael,
opposite sides of it.
Michael,
we're trying to stand up.
To finish my point.
Michael, you made the point towards me, right? So you want me to respond, right?
Yeah, well, just to finish my point, Zena,
right.
I'm willing to sit down, and conservatives are willing to sit down.
I'm really uncomfortable with everything that's happening here. Like, it's... The fact that they found more people on the left to come on to subsequent episodes of this, I find really disturbing,
With liberal family members who we believe, correctly, support the wholesale slaughter of infants to the tune of $70 million a year. You might object to our... Hold on one second. You might object to our immigration policies, but doesn't the principle of, moral objection gut both ways?
Well, so the problem is, like, the point that you're making...
Like, you all see what he just did, right? Like, he just bowled over them and is essentially able to freely make his points. And they just, like, patiently wait as he makes them and then flail around afterwards. Is that Luke Beasley? It is indeed.
is not about human persons. You're talking about.
I think it is.
Well, personhood is defined by consciousness, and it's
No, it's
just
not.
a case.
I don't
of course
think so.
it is. Well, okay.
I guess
so
we disagree on that.
What makes a human being dead? Like, when does a human being? What is it? When are they considered dead?
Not when they go unconscious, because then I would be dead every single night when I go to
but
sleep.
when there's no longer an ability for conscious experience to occur, there's no longer a human person, right?
No,
and that's not the case. No, let me finish. Hold on. I gave you a moment. So what we're talking about here is the sense that. Yeah, we're talking about Thanksgiving, but we're also talking about morality. So if we want to talk about Thanksgiving, we can also let's get back to the morality point.
I guess, Zena, my broader point.
Michael,
because I think you're evading my broader point.
Michael, let's get back to the morality point. You find homosexuality to be immoral, right?
Yeah.
This is entirely like to pump up the perception of Michael Knowles. Like, all of this exists to pump up his perception. Michael Knowles isn't even a good debater. Like, he's not good at this. Trust me, I've watched a lot of debates. He's not good at it. But he does know his audience there in that room. And he does know that he has constructed this arena for this. And, like, I think he found two people that didn't know what the hell they were doing here. Or at least, they might know their way around a debate, but not this kind of debate.
All right. So you wouldn't. But
you wouldn't. Homosexual friends.
Okay, but you wouldn't elect a homosexual to be president, right?
It depends. If he were just like homosexual in the British way, where he likes Cole Porter,
what if he was
went to Eton or something.
Okay, but what if he was homosexual in the blowing Bubba way? Would you elect him then?
I don't think Donald Trump is Bill Clinton's type. I don't know. We know a lot about Bill Clinton's preferences.
No, but Epstein seemed to think so, and in the legal documents that are being reviewed right now in litigation.
Jeffrey Epstein, I guess.
Okay. I trust legal documents.
So I think you're evading the question, Zena. I think you've totally evaded it.
You brought up Thanksgiving. I think you shouldn't disown your relatives except for some crazy cases. Family's number one. But
yeah, we're on the same team.
Of course. But what is going to ruin Thanksgiving is that the guy who promised affordability is driving up costs, as even he's having to admit now with the reversal of his tariff policy. The Thanksgiving...
you guys understand, this is weird, right? This is, no, what ruins Thanksgiving is people being assholes, right? The same thing that ruins any meal. It's people being assholes. And when you have one group of people that's like, yeah, it's fine to be gay, and we love you even if you're gay. And then the other group is, well, I think if you're gay, you're going to hell. And I brought a pail of rocks to throw at you. There's gonna be some fallout at that dinner. That dinner is going to be ruined, and it's probably by the people bringing pails of rocks,
Meals getting more expensive, I think, is more relevant to this.
No, one
discussion.
thing I noticed,
because we're all here. We're all here to discuss. So clearly, none of us are those people disowning family members. It feels a little irrelevant, but the cost feels more relevant.
You're saying the point you're making is irrelevant. I agree.
No, I'm saying your point about some random liberals that aren't here disown family members. I don't really care.
No, Zena's actually saying she would disown family members.
Wait,
I think she was justifying.
Michael, which of my family members have I disowned? I'm confused.
No, so you agree that liberals should not disown family members. They should show up to Thanksgiving. That 40% of liberals are wrong to say that we should disown family. So we all agree on that point?
I don't think 40% said we should disown family.
Yes, 40% according to
are more likely to.
Over anyone who's supports
They would justify it.
They would justify it.
40% of Kamala Harris supporters.
I'm special.
Yeah, okay, so I'm trying to figure out, because both of you are completely evading the topic and changing it.
Wait. How am I supposed to argue with something that I don't think you should disown family members? But if we want to talk about Thanksgiving, I have other points we can bring up.
We're not talking about other topics. We're talking about the one that the people chose. And so you might agree with me, and that's delightful for you. It means you're on the right side of the question. But Zena, I think you disagree. And so you're trying to avoid the question. My claim, which is the claim we're debating, is libs are ruining Thanksgiving and they need to cut it out. Do you agree with that?
I think there's grounds for, considering disownership when we look at the fact that Trump has been held civilly liable for sexually assaulting a woman.
I understand that they're trying to make the debate about different topics and bring different things in here, but it isn't playing well. This is making him look good. This is making Michael Knowles look good in the eyes of that audience. Like, they come across like they're being played like goddamn fiddles. This is a non-argument based on the fact that the study was done by Deseret News. Yeah, I went to Deseret News and I looked as they were talking for whatever Michael Knowles was talking about, and I could not find it. I searched Thanksgiving study and nothing. I would genuinely appreciate if they engaged on the topic of the debate with him, because what's happening here is they're trying to bring in other topics, and it's making them look weak and as if they don't want to engage on that topic. Which, like, let's be fair, you should be able to engage on that very superficial topic. You should be able to be like, yeah, no, Republicans are fucking weirdos at Thanksgiving. And, you know, if you keep being a fucking weirdo, you're going to stop getting invited to Thanksgiving. Like, that's, like, it's not complicated. It's the fact that conservatives are fucking weird. And maybe they don't want to say that because they're sitting in front of a MAGA audience in a MAGA bar. But, like, if you're not willing to say that, don't go on this show, you know?
Named E. Jean Carroll. This was held in federal. She was crazy. Well, how come? Were the
You're crazy.
Were the two courts in 2 separate years that found him guilty, and him not having exculpatory evidence to prove that he wasn't guilty? Were they all
Hey,
also
Zena,
insane?
when did Donald Trump assault E. Jean Carroll?
I'm not sure what the date
90s.
was. but
Neither
I'm
is
sure
E.
what the
Jean
decision-
Carroll, because she doesn't know if it's 95 or 96.
Okay,
and she
so-
only reported
Okay,
it
wait,
23 or 24 years later.
Wait, Mike.
Oh, damn. See, look at all those trained seals in the audience clapping for a woman who was able to hold the current president liable for sexual assault.
Do you or do you?
Yeah, stop. Yeah, there is a point here where you need to not argue with them on any factual basis, because, again, the question posed was subjective as fuck. And, you know, the libs are ruining Thanksgiving. What does that mean? Sorry, what does that mean? Don't be engaging with them on, like, these claims about Donald Trump. Like, just fucking buckle down and be like, yeah, I think that if somebody shows up and they're supportive of a pedophile, I think that ruins the holiday. You know? You don't have to, like, actually engage on a deep level with this. You just have to, your job. Okay, remember earlier when I said, like, you know, in some cases, like, picking your battlefield and understanding what you have to do is like finding a good unbiased moderator and prepping for the debate and having, like, a bunch of different facts that you can recall on command. Well, sometimes to win a debate against a fascist, instead what you need to do is ruthlessly mock them and make them look weak and stupid in the eyes of the audience. And in this case, you have literally the easiest target in the universe sitting right next to you. All right? Like, stop being fucking polite. Stop being polite and stop engaging with this as if it's a good faith proposal to debate the facts. It's not.
Not support, like, our court system? Like, do you agree that our
I think courts
system...
sometimes make mistakes, and I think...
And what evidence do you have of the mistake that they've made in their
Okay, here's
decision?
my evidence, because you keep changing the topic because you don't want to discuss the point that the people asked for. That's fine. That's fine. E. Jean Carroll herself cannot tell you when the alleged sexual assault in Bergdorf Goodman occurred. She then reported it only 23 or 24 years later. She then went on Anderson Cooper's show when she was reporting this and said that rape is sexy. It was so weird that Anderson Cooper had to cut to commercial. This then was reported by George Stephanopoulos in ABC. He said that Trump was liable for rape, and ABC News and George Stephanopoulos had to pay Trump $16 million for defamation because that wasn't true. I don't find her credible.
Now you have to let me, since you made a bunch of points on that, respond to it. Put in all these events. He's on tape saying, "Oh, I got it was a joke." Okay, then he is found civilly liable.
He's on tape saying what?
Wait.
Okay, I don't think we talked about my point.
And
So
then,
I think. Well, hold on. We have to ask who won. So if you agree, I don't even know what sides we're on here. I guess if you agree with me and Luke, I guess is on my side. You raise the red sign, and if you agree with Zena, you raise the blue sign.
Got some good people.
I see. I would say there's a couple of blues there. Is that blue down there yet too? And then the rest is red. Okay, I think that goes to us. Good job, Luke. Now we cut for questions.
Like, this is a guy who stood up at a podium in front of, like, the entire conservative world in America and essentially declared war on trans people, right? You know, announced his desire to annihilate trans people. And, like, going on his show and fist bumping him and, like, laughing with him, it's gross. It's icky. Stop it. Like, stop hobnobbing with, like, this clown who failed to become an actor. Like, stop it. You don't have to do this to yourselves.
Yes, I think that in the idea of disowning your family and the borders and all those things, I think the liberal heart is, the compassion is misplaced, because we're not concerned about all these children that have been come across the border who were given.
Also, it really makes sense that this would be like a cop bar, you know? Cool stuff.
We're not concerned about all these children that have been come across the border who were given a number that they call and no one answered. They've been abused, they've been sexually trafficked, they've been lost. We don't even know where they are. So if you have the compassion for them, you should have the compassion for closing the borders and taking care of their own country to help them get a better life and a better life in their own country with the things that they need. We can partner with those countries.
Yeah, like, you see how this is just set up for the liberal left wing here to lose, right? Like, oh, hey, the fight panel came out and, like, oh, you're gonna bring up abortion. What about all those migrant kids that are missing? That aren't actually missing, just as an FYI. I know conservatives love to talk about, like, hundreds of thousands of children went missing, and that's not the case at all. It is a blatant and intentional misrepresentation of what actually happened and the statistics. For the record, kids missed their court dates. That's it. It's not, oh, they're missing. Oh, it's not, oh, the government was looking for them and couldn't find them. It was just the kid, like, some kids didn't show up to their court dates. That's it. God, it's so stupid.
Charity begins at home. Do you agree?
Answer that?
Yeah.
So, obviously, we should have a secure border. Obviously.
All right. Are you on the Republican side of that? Hold on.
And we can both have a secure border and then separately not ignore due process, which is completely unrelated to what you're talking about, which is what Trump has done. And deporting people without due process who had legal asylum cases to prisons in El Salvador to rot there forever is completely against everything America's supposed to stand for. So let's have both.
Americans are supposed to stand for Latin American gangsters. Okay, I didn't.
You see what I mean, right? Like, oh, the left is supposed to stand for Latin American gangsters. Okay, and then it moves on, right? The framing of this is terrible. It's just terrible. And, like, yeah, Kyle Kulinski would actually really shine on a show like this. How's he so smug and wrong at the same time? Yeah. Well, I mean, his job is lying, right? Like, if your job is lying, then, like, you get pretty good at lying. And it turns out acting smug and saying something confidently is, like, 90% of what it takes to be a good liar.
Read that in the Federalist.
There was zero, explain what evidence against Andrew Hernandez Romero was there that he was a gang member?
The gangster case that made the
gangster case. There was no evidence against him because he was a lawful asylum seeker who had come to the border checkpoint legally, who didn't illegally cross the border. Exactly. He ended up being sent because of a mistake, not the one you're thinking of, the other guy. I'm talking
What's
about
the other guy's name?
You know his name.
Part of what I'm upset about too is that, like, by bringing on, I don't know much about Luke Beasley's, like, positions, but my understanding is that he's a lib, you know? Which, you know, usually in coalition against fascists, that's not a huge problem as long as they're willing to, you know, walk the walk. But the issue here is that he concedes to the right's framing. Like, oh yeah, we need to be strong on the border and we need to, you know, but the problem is we need due process. And, like, due process is very important, don't get me wrong.
From a trans femme in a red state, I want to thank you for all that you do to speak and fight for us. You're awesome, and I hope nothing but the best for you.
Thank you, Saxy Jax. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the tier 2 sub. I will continue to do my best for as long as I'm able. But you saw the framing, right? Like, oh, you know, we need to be strong on the border. You know, we definitely need to still like have like border patrol and all that stuff. And it's like, and I understand this is 3 months ago, but this is aged so poorly, right? The correct and strong response is just, nah, dog, we need a bunch of bureaucrats. We shouldn't be sending people to concentration camps for the equivalent of parking tickets. Stop it. You know, like engage on the fundamental issue here. Don't retreat and don't capitulate to their framing. Ever.
Listen to how he demeans the poor refugees and asylum seekers.
That's who you're going to bring up. That's not who I'm bringing up. We're going to go Andrew. I know his name. You don't know anything about him, and you're fine with our government sending him to a prison indefinitely.
So you bring up
which
one
is
of
against every basic international law and what America's supposed to stand for. So to the question,
hold on.
secure border and
but you asked about this guy. You asked about this guy, and I think it's very important. It's true. We don't know the names of all of the 20 million illegal aliens who are in this country.
He wasn't an illegal alien.
Who need to
You're
be
making random points. He wasn't
He was an American citizen?
He wasn't an American citizen either.
He had a green card?
Right?
Did he have
a difference.
Did
he had
have
a
a green
lawful
card?
immigration case.
No, you said he was seeking asylum.
And he hadn't entered illegally, so he's not illegal.
He had no right to be in the United States. You're saying he was seeking
I'm
asylum.
saying he went lawfully to a checkpoint, applied, and his case was pending.
Yeah, you could have like Osama walking through with a Tren de Aragua membership card. He can lawfully go to a checkpoint. It doesn't mean he has any right to be in the United States.
Michael, you do understand that illegal immigrants are less likely to commit crimes in this country than...
Like, see, you need to be able to engage on the fundamental topic that's being put forward, and they can't do that. And by capitulating to his framing, like, Luke set himself up for this.
Than in the legal citizens. That is 100% true. And none of your statistics...
What did you just call them? Zena, what did you just call them?
Right, so...
Hold on, what did you just call them?
Undocumented immigrants?
No, that's not what you called them. You called them illegal immigrants. I think you gave the game away.
I think both of us care
illegal means unlawful.
We care a little bit more about...
Here's the problem. Undocumented immigrants who come to this country fleeing, oftentimes war-ridden countries, oftentimes that have been intervened from America, right? Come to this country, and they are less likely to commit violent crimes than any of the rest of you sitting in this bar. That is a fact that you can fact check on.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And the problem is there has been a narrative spread about...
Good question. How many views did this get? 173,000.
About illegal immigrants to make them seem as if there's some kind of villain in this country that are somehow, when your lights shut off, when your electricity doesn't work, damn, it's those damn immigrants somewhere out there. They're always lurking. That's the problem.
I don't blame them for that. I blame them for high prices and abusive welfare and some crime.
What we realize, though, is that they're doing the jobs that everyday Americans don't want to do, the jobs that pay, lesser wages. The problem is when you push them out...
We need cheap slave labor, so bring in those refugees. That's what we're going to use them for.
Other Americans are still doing that labor, and that's a fault of our system. But pushing them out continues to make worse living conditions for millions of people.
They're doing that labor for living wages. That's a pretty good idea. I support that.
That's not true.
Okay, next question.
But okay.
This question is for Zena. I'm assuming you're a supporter of Black Lives Matter.
God, it's like they had the Daily Wire temps dress up as extras to ask questions. You know what? That's my narrative that I'm going to choose to believe about these people.
I do believe Black Lives Matter, yes.
Okay, good. So, if you're in favor of protecting Black lives, where do you believe the most dangerous place in our country is right now for Black children?
That depends. Probably at the hands of law enforcement. I think that would be like the worst place for a lot of Black children to be. But,
okay, so according to the CDC, 17 million Black babies have been aborted since Roe v. Wade. That's 35% of the current Black population in
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That was so stupid to say that I was taken aback. I was taken aback. I thought for sure they were going to list like some city that has like gang violence or something. I was so sure, and then it was so much stupider than that. Oh God. So what is the point of people stepping up to the mic here? Is it just like to do random gotchas to make Michael Knowles look smarter? Like what exactly is this? I'm confused what the format is here.
America.
Unfortunately,
so if you really care about Black Lives Matter, wouldn't you want to protect the millions of babies that are being slaughtered by their parents?
Yeah. So the only problem is when you're with your girlfriend and she needs to get a plan B, we don't kind of charge her with murder, right? That's because fetuses don't have personhood.
Who needs to get a plan B? It's an abortion drug.
A lot of people.
You don't need to. You could just have the kid.
You could, or you can also, engage in your rights and get a plan B, like a lot of Americans.
You could kill your kid, but he's saying that's bad, and it's bad specifically for black people.
Any women in here who have IUDs, you could be considered a murderer, according to Michael Knowles.
No, IUDs are not necessarily abortifacient the way that Plan B are.
In many different cases, IUDs will actually remove
I don't support those either,
eggs,
but they're different than Plan B.
Yeah, like the issue here is Michael Knowles is a demon, right? Like Michael Knowles is just someone who will straight up say, yes, I think we should make a world in which trans people cannot exist. He will stare you directly in the eye and say that without blinking, right? He will also stare you directly in the eye and be like, yeah, I don't think any kind of contraception should be available at all. Everyone should just have babies if they get pregnant. And like, he will say that without blinking. It's his genuine position, And like, none of this is a good faith effort to debate the issue of abortion. Like, I honestly, there's a part of me that's like, okay, if somebody from the audience like steps up and says that, you got to hit him with a yo mama joke. Like, where's the most dangerous place for someone to be in the United States? With yo mama. Like, I don't know, like, it just seems like we should be taking it less seriously, because they certainly aren't taking it seriously, Yeah, you gotta get petty. You gotta get a little bit bitchy. You gotta channel that Mean Girls energy, Under yo mama, there you go. Or, the most dangerous place in America, at yo mama's Thanksgiving table. Oh, got him. She gonna confuse you for a drumstick. Let's go! Like, I don't know. Just you gotta hit him with something fucking stupid. 'Cause, like, that's the level they're all operating on.
Fertilize eggs from the uterus, and
from
that could lead to, or implantation, you're right.
Yeah.
And that would lead to a baby no longer being able to be conceived. So yes, that would be considered a murder of a human person, right? That would be equal to any of the lives in here, which isn't the case. If we had like 50 fetuses just like stacked up on...
I genuinely, in this particular circumstance, if someone is seriously standing up and being like, yes, the worst place to be a black child is in the womb, your response has to be like even more over the top. It has to be even more like insane. Like, oh, okay, well, I happen to believe that we should protect all of the building blocks for life, and I think we need to outlaw masturbating. Billions of potential children are lost every year. Sorry, trillions of potential children are lost every year due to thoughtless jerking of that meat, all right? We need to outlaw it, okay? We need to outlaw jerking it. He'd agree, though? He'd agree, but you aren't gonna win over an audience with, like, the pro-outlaw masturbation. Specifically because men get super fucking uncomfortable about that idea. Men, specifically conservative men, are all aboard with the idea of controlling women's bodies. They are far less on board with the idea of the law governing their bodies. He'd agree, but the Gooners wouldn't, which is, again, 99% of all conservatives.
This, on this table, and we took 50 people from the audience. Would you say, like, these...
No, I'm pretty sure Christian men would agree with that. Christian men masturbate more furiously than any other group of men. That's a fact.
Lives are worth the same? Are those lives the same?
I think all human life has equal dignity. Yeah.
So if we said, okay, let's take Luke over
You need
here.
to do something like this. Keep hitting them with your point like this.
What is this, PC Schwartz? And thank you for the $5 dono.
Very few things in history.
I have seen this. This is great. I'm going to link it in all the chats.
Are black and white. A lot of it is gray, and that includes the Civil War. It was actually fighting for states' rights.
States' rights to do what?
Excuse me, sir?
States' rights to do what? What did you want to use those rights for? You usually don't mention that part. I want to hear it. I wonder what you want to do with them.
Well, the Confederacy didn't want to be oppressed by the North.
Really, what were they preventing you from doing? What did they not want you to do?
Listen, my friend, there was more to it than slavery for why we made the Confederacy.
That is really, really interesting, because the guy who made the Confederacy, the vice president, said that was because they wanted to have slavery, and all the state constitutions said they wanted to have slavery, and they seceded the moment that the president got elected that was going to abolish slavery. Boy, the Confederacy sure looks slavery adjacent, at least. No, anyways, states' rights do what?
You're ignoring our other concerns.
Yeah, but among the concerns was slavery, so I don't care, because you deserve it, because you're evil. And slavery is evil. That's you should know this. By the way, could you answer my question, you fucking traitor? States' rights to do what?
See, like, this is 100%, you know, like, you need to be the pettiest little bitch at the party, all right?
If we said Luke or one fetus, like literally sitting on the table,
Xena,
which one would you say?
When do human beings?
I like Luke. Come on, that's not nice.
Okay, would you save your adult wife from a burning building, or would you save a fetus? Would you save 1,000 fetuses from a burning building, or would you save your wife? Which one would you save first? You know what? If you could save 1,000,000 fetuses from a burning building or your wife, which are you saving first? Like, you gotta start being, like, bad faith as fuck with your, construction. Yeah, because, like, anyone would be like, yeah, I would save my wife over 1,000,000 fetuses. 1 billion fetuses.
She didn't even ask the question yet.
Which one would you, if you had to choose between saving the life of Luke or a fetus sat on this table, which one would you choose, Michael?
Xena, when do you believe that human beings get rights?
Okay, next question.
That sums everything up. Thank you.
Someone asked me a question.
Okay, wait. I thought of a better one. Okay. Would you save 1 trillion fetuses, or would you save Donald Trump from a burning building? Which of these two, MAGA, would you save first? Do you save the trillion fetuses, or do you save Donald Trump? I know it's a really easy question for us. I know it's a really easy question for our side. But you know, MAGA, they might struggle with that for a little bit. They might have to do some soul searching before they rush into that burning building.
Hi. Pay attention.
I have a question. Well, it's not really a question, more of a statement that you can answer to the libs. So I just became a mother, and 2 months ago, greatest joy of my life. And
yeah.
So feminism says that it takes a strong, independent woman to have a career. I already have a decent career, but that wasn't that hard. Having
what? Feminism says no. There are a lot of different types of feminism and a lot of different ideas here. But feminism says I have to be a strong, independent woman to have a career. But I have a career. Just want to point out there that feminism got you that career. There was a time at which you wouldn't be able to have one of those before feminism existed. Do you like being able to leave the house wearing shoes and not spending all winter inside mending? Guess what? That was feminism. Do you like being able to vote for your elected representatives? That was feminism. Do you like being able to have a bank account and a credit card? That was feminism. Do you like being able to wear pants? As I can't help but notice, you are wearing, I can see the jeans. That's feminism. Feminism fought literally for each and every one of those things.
And
Yeah.
so feminism says that it takes a
Feminism
strong,
says-
independent woman to have a career. I already have a decent career, but that wasn't that hard. Becoming a mother takes a strong, independent woman. Let me just say, I had a natural birth. The question is, do you really think that being a strong, independent woman is being a career woman who had a few abortions? Or is being a mother really feminist?
I'm really curious.
I think you can only ask this question if you don't know what feminism is. I gotta be completely honest with you. Which is more feminist? Someone who had a baby in a natural birth, or like a hypothetical career woman who don't need no man and has had like 10 abortions because she sleeps around like a total slut? Which is more feminist? Feminism isn't when I'm sorry. Feminism isn't when rom-com protagonist, okay? Feminism isn't that, all right? Like, I don't know who taught all of these people wrong about... Well, no, I do know who taught people wrong about feminism. It was people like Michael Knowles and the whole fucking Gamergate thing that happened like a decade ago. This is great Thanksgiving talk, by the way. Yeah, exactly. This will make you feel right at home at Thanksgiving when you brag about your natural birth and shit talk the other half of your family that lives in the big city for being sluts who had abortions. It'll really go over well at Thanksgiving, for sure.
Here's what you think liberals believe. I'm very proud of you on your motherly journey. And I wish you the best. And I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage to be a mother and a lot of work. And it's a beautiful thing. And liberals, at least correct liberals, don't believe that you shouldn't, if you want to, create the most beautiful thing, a family. What we believe is that you should have the choice and the freedom to do that, or to pursue a career, or to pursue a career for a while and have kids, or both. And that freedom is something that, I don't know where Michael specifically stands, but some people in his cohort don't like the idea of and want way more rigid enforcement. We want freedom, and I love that you became a mother. I love that you said you also achieved things in your career, and the choice for your own life path is what liberals believe in.
Thank you. Here's the only problem with that, is that my Instagram feed calls it propaganda when other women promote being mothers.
That's because Instagram needs you to be upset and stay on the...
Wait, what is it? I'm sorry. Wait, what? But my Instagram feed says, there's your problem right there. Your problem right there is going on Instagram and thinking that that is indicative of the entire world. Like, that's like, I don't know. What's a good analogy here? It's like waking up on an isolated island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and thinking your island is the entire world. You know? Like, that's the level we're talking about. And don't worry, there are coconuts on that island. You'll be okay. You'll survive. But it's not the entire world.
Platform, so it shows you random nobodies who don't really represent the mainstream liberal view to get you upset, so you'll keep using their app.
Now, hold on, Luke. I'm glad that you're moderate and relatively reasonable as far as libs go. But I think this is ignoring pretty widespread left-wing demonstrations.
The Dow was over 50K, though. That's true. I hadn't considered the 50K Dow argument. They didn't. Well, to be fair to this video, they didn't invent the Dow is over 50,000 as an argument until, about a month ago, and this was 3 months ago.
It's a shout your abortion.
Okay.
Planned Parenthood goes out, says you can have as many abortions as you want or need. These are mainstream groups.
Articulate.
That's so true. I know from living in the city now, when you walk down the street and pass like a Planned Parenthood, there's, a guy in a pinstripe suit going, abortions here, get your abortions, step right up, we'll yeetus your fetus. You there, miss, do you need an abortion? Come right in. If you even think you might need one, come right in. We're gonna get you an abortion today, whether you like it or not. It's free! Tell all your friends, bring them all down. We're handing out punch cards. Your 10th one is free as well. Like, That's the world that conservatives believe exists. And you need to make fun of them for that.
If you actually look at people in positions of authority, obviously we have a very different stance on
Your losses are sauce. That's so terrible.
abortion, but about uplifting families and enhancing the child tax credit. Democrats stand for that. Republicans want to cut those programs. Pro-family. That's us.
Trump did just expand the child tax credit, but we'll get to that in some later topic. Okay, so who do you think won the first round? Now you can, I guess I don't even know what the questions really were about. Is it? Would you say? Do we get the blue for the libs, red for? Is it tie? Is it a tie? Is it?
One of my favorite aspects of this set is how they lit it so that all of the paddles look red. It's so cool.
I'm seeing more red if I'm being real. But that was a very reasonable answer by liberal standards. That was very good. Okay, who do we think the VIP questioner was? Who gets to go to the VIP table and drink delicious redneck Riviera bourbon? The mom gets it. The mom is going to drink 9 months worth of bourbon tonight, baby. Here we go. All right.
Ew. Like, I understand, but, like, let's not try and kill the patrons.
Now, you know what I find pairs very well with motherhood and bourbon? Delicious Good Rancher's meat. While our VIP gets her seat before an actual brawl breaks out between...
Boy, am I not surprised that Michael Knowles is trying to sell people on his meat, and a crowded bar isn't gonna go for it.
Luke and Zena, maybe. I don't know. Luke is kind of like a conservative here. Before that happens, everyone should sit down right now. Everyone should agree what makes any fight night better. That is delicious steak. Not just any steak, Good Rancher's steak. 100% American raised, delivered right to your door. Now, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Nobody is turning down a sizzling, perfectly grilled, juicy, delicious steak. That is why when I fire up the grill, I actually have my wife do the grilling. That's kind of feminist of me. I know that I am serving 100% American raised meat, top quality. I get it delivered right to my door.
Jack
I
is saying
bet
this
you love your raised
ISNT what
meat.
the libs are trying to enforce on conservatives.
What is this? I forgot about this. The University of Radical Feminist Praxis. The Oppression Olympics. Let's go. God. The Cuck Zone. The Cuck Zone does sound like it would be a pretty fun bar, to be fair.
Let me bring the audience into this. Give me a shout if you've ever tried disgusting grocery store meat and instantly regretted it. Yeah, you see that?
Finally, Michael Knowles is getting an entire bar full of people to clap for his meat.
That's bipartisan disappointment. Good Ranchers fixes that. They're flexible with delivery, just like our unpredictable debates. Order, pause, delay, cancel anytime. Even if you lose tonight, you win at dinner. Listen up. If you go to goodranchers.com, use code Knowles, you get $40 off your first box. $30.
You get $40 off your first box? Is it some meat in a box? I'm pretty sure SNL did a sketch on that quite a long time ago. It's some meat in a box.
Off your second, $30 off your third, and my friends, this is where you can cheer. Free meat for life when you subscribe.
Oh, God. The fact that Michael Knowles is easily one of the gayest conservatives out there makes this so much funny. So much funnier, you know?
Whether you're debating voter...
Michael Knowles, you know you can get the same effect from like, that you're getting from this event by, like, just posting on Tumblr and writing on yourself with a Sharpie, okay? Like, you don't have to debase yourself in front of a whole studio audience. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Idea or foreign policy, make sure the steak on your table is as good as your arguments. Head over to goodranchers.com. Use code Knowles, K-N-W-L-E-S. Are we ready for round two? Okay, now we're going to read our topics. I have to urge my guests here. We'll try to stick to the topic, you know, not some of the other. We'll try to stick to whichever one gets picked. Ladies first.
All right, claim 2 is that toxic masculinity is ruining young men.
All right, that was a cheer from the most toxic man in this bar. Luke?
All right, my claim 2 is Republicans are much worse for the economy than Democrats. Everyone cheer real loud for that. Yeah, there we go.
Okay, my claim is that we should ban porn.
Can I just say again, every single time they reverse shot to the audience, let me tell you, those guys look like they've watched a lot of porn, all right?
Tonight's Riverboat Jack stream is sponsored by Michael Knowles' Distressingly Sweaty Meat Emporium.
Exactly, Knifeiest Duck. You get me. You understand. Also, it's sponsored by you, the viewers! Folks, if you're getting anything out of tonight's stream, hit that follow button, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please consider supporting the show with your subs, donos, memberships, super chats, etc. You guys let me do this. You literally let me do this. You have funded me and my ability to spend time at 2 o'clock in the morning watching this and systematically, dismantling it and making fun of it at the same time. Again, as a dire warning to my colleagues in this, professional space I inhabit, don't fucking do this. Stop it. Don't go on Michael Knowles' show. Stop it. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and support the show financially if you can. All right, let's dive back in. Let's do it.
We should ban porn.
Yeah, again, this guy has never watched any pornography in his life. This guy definitely does not know anything about something called Rule 34. Definitely has never, ever found anything resembling, I don't know, hentai in his life. Knows nothing about it. He's perfectly innocent.
Yeah, there we go. Wow, all right.
No.
Wow.
I don't care.
I don't know. Do we have? There were cheers for the economy one. Is there? What do we got?
There was cheers across the board. What did it sound like up there? Because back here, I'm getting
economy
like 2 people
really
yelling
loud.
into it.
Mine was really loud.
Wait, you guys remember?
I've never.
Yes, Michael Knowles did play a gay man in an amateur college film, which makes it sound a lot spicier than it was, but honestly, even though it wasn't technically a pornography, it was still gayer than any pornography I've ever seen.
Been to a bar where the cheers are
Toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity? Toxic masculinity.
Okay, so we're doing economy.
Because it's near Thanksgiving, and Luke said he would come to my Thanksgiving dinner, I will put my aside for a moment. We can talk about the economy. Luke, what's your argument?
All right, let's go. So,
that's a good question. How many chasers do we think are in that room? Well, storm chasers, 1, I'm gonna guess. Chasers for trans people, I'm gonna guess 100%. We're at 100% capacity. Okay, every single one of them, men, women, all of them.
I'm sure a bunch of people in this bar don't know this. I think everyone's worldview, our politics should be structured on just a rational approach to public policy. The most important issue in all of our lives is the economy. And almost all Americans, or probably a majority, misunderstand the records between Republicans and Democrats on the economy over the last century, Michael. And I'd like to hear you respond to this in a second. The last century, the economy has fared way better on GDP growth, unemployment, job growth, etc. All of the metrics you can find. The last century under Democrats compared to Republicans, even when you control for
under Democrat presidents, you mean?
No, even when you control for what about who was in the House, who was in the Senate, time and time again, Democratic administrations and better under unified Democratic government.
So always Democrats.
What are chasers? Chasers in the trans community are people who fetishize trans people and objectify trans people and don't treat us like human beings, Mayav, thank you for the $10 super chat.
They say Michael Knowles, but it kinda seems like he doesn't really know all that much.
Yeah, look, okay. It'd be really fun sometime to get some other left-leaning content creators together to do some D&D.
They say Michael Knowles.
Oh no!
But like, it kinda seems like he doesn't really know law that much.
2 of them went through. I don't know how to undo that on YouTube. That's never happened before. I'm so sorry. Thank you for the $10 super chat, though. But I would like to get some folks together in the left to do D&D. Because 1, I think it'd be fun. 2, I would make a character and a villain named Michael Knowles. And I think that would be pretty. I think that would be a pretty banger, antagonist for a campaign. You know, that was too much effort for a very niche joke. All right.
White House.
Democrats in the White House.
Yeah, okay.
The economy performs better over and over again. Recessions are way more likely to happen under Republicans. We're seeing this right now with Trump. A bunch of people voted for him to help their economic situation, and then he came in and implemented these insane and irrational tariffs on everyone in the world and penguins, and is driving prices up and doesn't understand how tariffs work.
Tariffs were deflationary according to the San Francisco Fed last week.
He doesn't even know who pays
That's
the
not
tariffs.
true.
So the clearest stat is that every single economist, conservative or not, says Democrats are better for the economy. You can even ask Grok and gives you the same answer. So I would like to ask you, because it is, well, it's Elon's, because even exactly, and Elon's.
No, Michael Knowles would be a Knoll named Michael Knowles. It'd be spelled Gnolls, Michael Knowles. And for those of you who do not understand the joke, Knowles are basically big hyenas that are demons and infected with chaos, and they just run around and eat things. That's it. All right? And I think this would be funny. I think this would be good. Okay?
Why does the right talk about trans people? If they hate them? This is exactly how anti-furries are being turned into furries. It's a pipeline that'll make them support trans people.
Well, so the problem is that Republicans have an issue with trans people insofar that, much like how a lot of conservatives are content to both advocate against women's rights, but also want to fuck women, or advocate against gay people, but are themselves gay, it's the same kind of thing. Like, conservatives are willing to vociferously attack trans people and pass all kinds of legislation against us, while still wanting to and succeeding in fucking us. And that's just like a dissonance that they don't really engage with. And it doesn't often make them into supporters of trans people, sadly, because the fetishization there that happens kind of precludes them from seeing us as people, right? Like that, when you are fetishizing someone, you can't really treat them as an equal necessarily, because to you they're an object. And the reason they talk about us all the time is entirely because we are a distraction. We're a scapegoat for them, so that they have something to look like they're doing important work furthering the Republican cause, while in actuality they're giving trillions of dollars to the wealthiest donors of the Epstein class. You know, like it's there to basically make it look like they're doing something that isn't just robbing their constituents blind. So that's why they talk about us all the time, because they would be talking about gay people all the time, but they feel like they've lost on that topic, so they moved on to trans people.
I play a bar dragonborn who is allergic to fruit. He loves fruit.
Oh no. I love that. I love that. Thank you, Attack on Pony Productions. I still really miss the time that I had a fighter who had become like was a lawful evil fighter who essentially was like the seventh son of his family, and he was trying to figure out a way to like become powerful and prominent, and so he tried to teach himself how to do magic, but failed spectacularly, and in the process summoned the powerful devil into the material plane. And in a moment of panic, he made a deal with it that allowed himself to live, but allowed the devil to kill his entire family. Everyone in his house died. And then he became, because he summoned it incorrectly, it didn't have to leave. And so he continued to have to like feed it a sacrifice every month because his misery, entertained the devil. And, my party never caught on to the fact that essentially my character was serial killing different NPCs, and I thought it was fun. It was interesting.
Transcams in here. My friend and I have a mutual aid FB group for rights to the DMV/polls/jobs/school pickups. My friend is from Minneapolis.
That is awesome. Melody Queen, thank you for the $5 super chat. Yeah, it is super unfortunate that it has come to that, It's super unfortunate that it's come to that. Isn't that just Renfield? It's not exactly Renfield, because the devil is immaterial and, follows him. It's more like an It Follows situation, where he just has to continuously find different victims that the devil is going to feast upon their soul. Very dark urge of you. It was a fun campaign.
How about a conjuration wizard that can only conjure seating? Ben Shapiro.
I love it. I fucking love it. And you would think it would be like comically weak, but like the wizard just drops objects onto other people, and it's weirdly effective at killing them or incapacitating them. Incredible, King Kerplunk. Well done. Also, my party never caught on that my character was evil. He was just really, really helpful a lot of the time, and really bad at covering up his crimes. Yeah, a Looney Tunes ass magician, exactly. All right, I love D&D. I could talk about it all day, but we're gonna go back to this.
AI now says like he has a sexy body or something, so it's pretty skewed. But I'd be curious to know, because Trump's landmark economic approach has been tariffs, and I know a lot of commentators who defend him have flip-flopped on it's just negotiating. It's not. It's.
Do you not find it ignoring that they compare trans people to the witch in Wheel? Maybe give that another shot, because I don't understand.
Not. You agree that he's completely lying when he says China pays the tariffs, right?
No, I think that...
Wait, how do you hide your skills from party members? Well, because my character didn't have like secret skills. My character was just a fighter. My character was just a guy with a rapier, and he was really good with that rapier. But like, I would just like slip notes to the DM and be like, "This is what my character's doing," and the DM would just be like, "All right." A couple of times, my character almost got caught by different party members. It was fun. Oh, Weapons the movie. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think if that's the comparison you're making about the movie Weapons that you understood the movie Weapons.
The tariffs have worked out relatively well because everyone predicted that the...
Yeah, he was a Dex fighter because he was old. He was old, but he had been trained in fighting his entire life.
Tariffs would be inflationary. The San Francisco Fed just came out and said they were actually deflationary.
Wait.
See that
Michael,
real wages are up.
You said you were going to stay on the topic. I asked...
You just asked me a question. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You asked me a direct question. I
But then
responded
you gave an answer to a different question. I asked you a specific question.
That was a total fake out. That was a total trick.
Who's paying the tariff?
You have to answer my question if I ask a question, Michael.
Oh, that was, man, how'd you do that to me? He could have asked me a question about porn. So I'll answer the top
Do you watch porn?
Because it's very...
Darn. You could have asked Michael Knowles about porn. I'm sure he would have been very truthful with you about it.
This is one of those examples of lies, damn lies, and statistics.
All right, you're not going to answer it. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Wait, do you want me to answer that question, or do you want me to answer your broader question?
Well, you're just going to say a bunch of
You just keep cutting me off whenever I answer what you ask.
You're about to say random stuff. Okay, go. Sorry.
Okay, do you want me to answer the broader question or the specific question you asked about tariffs?
That Trump keeps lying, saying other countries pay the tariff, not importers.
The way that tariff... Look, I am an importer because I have a great cigar brand called Mayflower Cigars, and the cigars are made in Latin America. And so anyway, I know the tariff issue all too well, and right now they're mostly being absorbed by the companies. They're not really being passed on to the consumers. And so this is why the San Francisco Fed just pointed out the tariffs were...
Oh God, what the hell?
So anyway, I know the tariff issue all too well, and right now they're mostly being absorbed by the companies. They're not really being passed on to the consumers, and so...
Again, he is bullshitting so fucking hard in this response. Well, I import things, so I understand how this works. Yeah, so you understand you're paying the tariff. You, an American, are paying the tariff.
This is why the San Francisco Fed just pointed out the tariffs were deflationary.
Also... No, they're not. 90 plus percent of the tariffs are paid by us in the form of increased costs to everyday goods. Why is the audience in red lighting? Because it's a MAGA bar. What message did you get from weapons? Honestly, the message I got from weapons is that there are bad faith actors that are going to come to try and essentially... use you up to and including killing you in order to enrich themselves, and kind of like parasites on your community, as it were. But they are speaking from a position of power and influence, and that influence and power might not be fully understood by the communities that they reside in. But you can tell from the effects that they have that they are, in fact, a weapon turned against all of us. And, wow, it's really fitting that fucking Michael Knowles is on screen as I say all of that, isn't it? So interesting.
Well, you didn't answer, but we have seen prices. We saw...
Yeah, kind of like some sort of, I don't know, rich, wealthy Epstein class individual, or maybe some kind of media personality for said Epstein class individual. I don't know. Maybe not just an individual, but an entire class of people parasitically siphoning off our excess labor and wealth until it kills some of us.
Huge softening of price increases. Then Trump comes back in, reversed the trend. Food prices are back sharply increasing.
Inflation's not bad at all. Inflation's around 3%. Real wage growth is around 4 or 5%.
Because it was coming down.
Inflation?
It was coming down.
Inflation was 9% under Biden.
It was coming down under Biden.
COVID.
Coming down under Biden.
Hold on.
And then, that's what Biden handed to Trump, and then Trump reversed the trend, and now it's going back up because of his policies. In Biden's case, it was because of the pandemic that Trump mishandled. Trump caused a bunch of inflationary things.
I have to clarify something. Are you asking me about Trump's handling of the economy, or about your claim that in general the economy does better under Democrats or Republicans?
Oh, no, I made that point, and then I was giving you a different point about how Trump keeps lying. It's an economic point.
So hold on, are we going to debate the topic that I graciously let you do, or are we going to debate some other point?
I would love to hear you. Are you going to deny that for the last century?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone Google right now.
Okay, so you don't have...
This is the issue here, right? Like, are you going to deny a basically factually true thing? And he's like, yes, I'm going to do that. Because again, what matters here is making Michael Knowles look stupid, because none of those people out there are going to Google like the answers for themselves. If they could Google the answers for themselves, they wouldn't be in a MAGA bar watching a Daily Wire show.
To Google, I'm a human being. I can actually just give you the facts myself. So
lies.
So your point is that under Democrat administrations, the economy grows more, the GDP is higher, and so this is one.
That's factually true, by the way.
Example of lies, damn lies, and statistics.
Wage increases, unemployment. You just said.
Does he have Tourette's or something? Are we going to answer the question or not? Hold on, I'll try.
Okay, all right.
Would you like me to answer or no? Are you afraid of my answer?
Keep going.
You're afraid of my answer.
Yeah,
okay.
keep going.
So this is true, but you would grant certainly that macroeconomic events also play a role in the economy, right?
Of course.
Okay. So the way that you arrive at those numbers, because GDP growth is a little bit high.
Just real quick. Oh, hey, look, it's Harvard. It's the Harvard Business and Government Center. Oh, wowee. Democrats are better for the U.S. economy. Wow, cool stuff. You could go look at it on the publisher's site. Wow, look at this. Under President Joe Biden, the U.S. economy has performed much better than virtually anyone predicted, and yet voters seem not to realize it. Darn, I don't want to read the rest of the commentary, though. I do not care enough, because the point is, it doesn't matter if you are factually correct in this type of debate environment. You need to get your fucking dunks on this clown.
Under Democrat administrations and Republicans, if you go back to, say, World War II or back through the 20th century. The reason for this is that you have a Democrat administration coming out of World War II. So this is a massive global event that leaves the United States as one of the two main players. Will you be quiet
Even if you
while I
exclude
answer
that,
your question?
why are you being so dishonest? Even if you exclude that. Even if you just look at the last few presidents.
He's interrupting because he doesn't want the facts.
You're just...
as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, after World War II, you had a Democrat administration. So it inherits this massive growth in the economy because the United States is one of two superpowers left in the world. That starts to flip the numbers. Then you have, say, under the presidency of Ronald Reagan, you inherit in 1981 a massive, massive recession. Now, Reagan was able to turn that around on GDP growth, on unemployment numbers, on inflation. He turns it around. It gives us the Reagan boom, sets up the next 25 years. Bill Clinton comes into office. He rides that all the way through a once-in-a-century technological revolution, which is the internet revolution. He rides it all the way up to the bursting of the dot-com bubble, which is saddled on George Bush's numbers, not on Bill Clinton's numbers.
I mean, like, this is the chart. This was put together by the Bureau of Economic Analysis. You can see which presidents grew the economy more. The economy grew more under Democrats.
Furthermore, George Bush digs us out of that hole because of the 2003 tax cuts. But at the end of the Bush term, you had the global financial crisis. The global financial crisis that was set up mostly by two laws passed under Bill Clinton. The Community Reinvestment Act of 1995 and the Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act, which repealed Glass-Steagall, led to the global financial crisis. Now, obviously, Bush's numbers get pummeled by that. You get growth, especially because of the energy boom under Bush. Under Barack Obama, Donald Trump then comes in, cleans up some of Obama's mess, and passes more tax cuts that lead to long-term growth. So I grant to you, one second, let me finish.
Donald Trump's tax cuts did not lead to long-term growth in any meaningful sense. That is just a fucking lie, peddled in order to essentially justify trillions of dollars exiting the American taxpayer's wallet and entering the Epstein class's bank accounts.
My point.
Okay, that was way too long. I'm going now.
I grant to you that it is true that under Democrat administrations, one second, it is true that under Democrat administrations, you can arrive at that statistic, but when you look at macroeconomic trends, you realize the statistics are total lie.
Even if you control for specific economic crises, even if you do that,
Chemizon, it took place 3 months ago.
Steady times without external factors, still, and you're citing tax cuts, which have failed.
What is GDP growth on average under the Democrats?
Now I'm going to go. And a great example of this is, and as I explained, everything you just went there was a fun history lesson and misses the point that I made, which is even analyses that exclude for specific
You made a broad
crises.
point, and I inserted facts into that.
And then
you said ignore those facts.
And then you're not hearing the facts that I'm saying. You just keep going off of regurgitated talking points. So
history matters.
Yeah, and history keeps proving that Democrats oversee better economic conditions. And then a really good example of this is that we had the whole pandemic collapse. Trump mismanaged a lot at the end of his presidency. The economy was in this chaos.
You're blaming Trump for COVID?
And then
for a Chinese virus?
His handling of it. Just listen, and then you'll be able to hear it better. And then that he hands this crisis, obviously, to Biden. And then throughout Biden's term, every single economic analysis shows that we were outperforming every other nation in getting inflation down. The speed we brought it down because it was a global phenomenon. You're talking about macroeconomics. You'll never apply that to Biden's economics. And then the recovery in general across all.
Well, yeah, that's exactly it, Saxy Jacks. Like, they need to be way meaner to him and make him look a fool. Like, in this particular circumstance, making him look like a fool is very important.
Economic metrics, Biden way outperformed both expectations and every other country in the G7, and none of y'all ever acknowledged that. And then he hands an economy that had job growth throughout his entire presidency. The last job loss month was at the end of Trump's term.
Yeah, that is the thing, right? Rhyme Jack, you are 100% correct over in Twitch chat. The number one thing that is important to fascists is looking and coming across as powerful. They don't like looking weak because that directly undermines literally everything that they stand for. right? And the issue here is that a lot of people seem to continue to be under the delusion that fascists care about being correct. They don't. They don't care about factual information at all. Most of them have only ever listened to Nick Fuentes and never Googled one single thing for themselves in their entire lives, right? Like, they haven't ever bothered to check any of a confidently stated claim, any of the confidently stated claims by Nazis. They just do not care about it. It's all about optics. In a sense, yes. Part of the reason, people become fascists is because of the aesthetics. The aesthetics of power, the aesthetics of wealth, the aesthetics of being correct, right? And the issue here is that, the farther you get into fascism, the less any factual basis matters. Because one of the core components of fascism is, frankly, a rejection of empiricism, a rejection of factual information. It is why it became so dangerous when MAGA became disconnected from almost every tether to reality, right? Because that sets the stage for fascism. It sets the stage for, well, I haven't really thought about it that much, but it sure seems like this guy who's confident, a confident strongman, might be able to save us when he says he alone can save us. That's what happens. And so what happens when you disconnect from reality like that, when you are in that fascist bubble, aesthetics become everything, because reality is no longer a check on what you believe. Reality is no longer something that you really care about. It's all about vibes. It's all about vibes. And so if you're going into a debate of fascists like Michael Knowles, you have to understand how to take control of the vibes in that room and dunk on him mercilessly. All right?
He hands that to Trump, and lo and behold,
during COVID.
Wait.
I think you're kind of making my point.
Wait. Last point. No.
Right.
And then Trump loses jobs right when he gets back into office this term.
Here we go. Okay. Now, does Zena have a point? I would like Zena. Would you like to weigh in at all?
Hi, I'm here too.
She concurs.
A lot of what Luke said, I gotta agree with the other lib, but another point, I just really want to get this question answered. Michael, who eats the tariff cost?
So tariffs are absorbed right now. It can be a number of people, but right now the tariffs are being absorbed.
No, don't ask him an open-ended question. He's just going to lie. He's just going to lie. Honestly, the better tactic here would be to be like, Michael, where does the profit come from? What happens to your profits if you're absorbing the tariff costs? Just ask him fucking basic ass bitch questions about how capitalism works and watch him unravel. Because first of all, you gotta put him in that corner, because he's not gonna put himself in that corner. He's just gonna lie.
By the companies.
Americans.
I know this because I'm one of them.
Why?
He's gonna lie because everyone in that audience has no idea what a tariff is or how it works, and he knows that, so he's just gonna lie through his teeth. You have to ask him questions that the audience already knows the answer to in order to make him look stupid as hell.
Americans. Right.
Well, I'm an American. That's true. So, yeah, but also by foreign companies.
By working class Americans, according to the CBO and according to the Federal Reserve.
No, the tariffs were deflationary according to the San Francisco Fed. Came out last week.
So it's really interesting because whenever you pull up a stat, it's directly contradictory to every big economist.
Which economist?
So again, we're talking about these big.
Which economists would you want to name?
I'm talking about the Congressional Budget Office.
Can you not name one of those economists you're referring to?
Mark Zandi, as well. Do you know who Mark Zandi is?
Mark Zandi. Tell me about Mark.
Mark Zandi explains how Trump's policy is not only expected to increase inflation another 1% next year.
Expected to. But we're talking about real costs right now.
Let me finish. Because you had a monologue already. So let me
answer to his silly point.
So, right. So let me answer to your point now. So
just out of curiosity here, I'm going to go and look at the source that Michael Knowles cited, because everything I've ever heard about tariffs indicates that they are inflationary. Let's just take a quick look. Our results suggest that immediately following an increase in tariff rates, the unemployment rate tends to increase, i.e., people lose their jobs, and inflation tends to fall. This pattern suggests that, at first, the effects of tariffs more closely resemble a negative demand shock. That is, consumers and businesses pull back their spending, which slows economic activity and also slows down inflation. Over time, however, economic activity picks up and inflation increases to a higher rate than would have been the case without the tariff increase. So, Michael Knowles' own source fucking proves him wrong. And if he had read that source, he would have known that. Okay? The issue is he does not care about reality. He just cares about looking correct. That's all he cares about. Which is why, again, you cannot beat him by arguing facts.
Mark Zandi, not only does he project inflation increasing, but it's already increased from before due to his tariffs, as well as the fact that he notes that these tariffs are being majorly eaten by American because of the fact that our goods are being priced higher because corporations want to make up for the profit, right, that they're experiencing loss because of the tariffs, right? Americans look at your grocery prices. Everyone here buys groceries, and you guys know that there's been a difference, right? This is due.
She's doing good. She's doing good. I like this. This is a good tactic.
To tariff policy. It's always been inflationary, and majority of the biggest economic heads agree with this.
Unfortunately, the Federal Reserve disagrees. Okay,
that's
questions.
not true.
So, listen.
Someone bring out Google, please.
Questions. Here we go. Questions. Enough of Luke. Questions.
Okay, first, peace be with you, Michael.
Thank you. Et cum spiritu tuo.
So, I think what all of this surrounds, and I'm going to go completely off topic, but it's all relevant.
I think that's the theme of the night.
Yeah. So I think there's three kinds of people in the world. I think there are people who believe in God and act in that way. I think there are people who are atheistic and they don't follow God. And I think there are people who know God exists but are actively seeking to deprive the world of God because they're very small, but it's just the spirit of Cain. It's just like pure evil. And those people, and they know that God exists, but they hate it and they want to take it from us. So do you think a group like that could exist?
I do.
The vibe in this bar is so bad.
I mean, there's the occult, so there are people who worship Satan, for instance. They're like witches and stuff. A lot of the times they are atheists. They're like edgy atheists who want to be really cool, and they end up inadvertently like worshiping the devil. So that's bad.
Do you think any of those people have positions of authority then, I guess? Do you think that the occult has penetrated our systems of power? Occult, whatever you want to call it, just
I think
evil.
Trump,
I think that's the real word.
I think Trump is evil, and I think he took over the government.
I would love to respond to this, though.
Please.
You're talking about something that is a lot bigger than the topics that we have discussing today, and you can call it God, you can call it spirit, or whatever you want to.
It's goodness.
But there is bad in this world, and what we notice is that a lot of bad corresponds with amassing huge amounts of power in places where a lot of people don't have similar amounts of power. In this country, 1% of the population has accumulated more than half of the wealth that exists in this entire population of over 300 million Americans. There are Americans that are starving, right, and have been starving and have existed in cycles of poverty for years and years and years that dates back to an era where people were enslaved and didn't have ownership of their work. The people who owned that capital that came from that era.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This guy has big mass shooter energy. Like I'm deeply uncomfortable with this person.
Have generations and lineages that are still in power and still exist in that 1% today.
So what do you think we should do? Should we just get rid of them? Like, what's your solution?
This is a really good solution. I think the solution does not lie. Well, this is where you've been calling me a lib this whole time. I hate to say it, but I think I might be a lib. No, not you, sorry. I think Michael. You've been calling me a lib this whole time. I hate to break it to you. It might be a little bit worse than that.
What are you?
I mean, I would call myself a leftist, meaning that
I
believe that. Trust me, it's not. I believe that this problem lies beyond.
We have enough infighting. It's not the same.
party
true.
bounds, and it's bigger than that. And I think that this is a problem that has to do with class inequality, that breeds race inequality, that breeds gender inequality. All these things come from the same source, and that is drastic power imbalance. So I completely agree with you, and I think that this problem has nothing to do with red or blue. So I think it has to do with becoming conscious of this fact and banding together. This has to do with all of us. This has nothing to do with red and blue.
Great point. And it is weird that I know a lot of people support Trump thinking that it's because you're populist or he's going to be good for the working class. I don't want to spoil what my next claim is, but
you love spoiling the claims because you keep changing the topic every time we speak.
It is weird because Trump and her point about the top 1%, it's not that people can't do well, but Trump, in a time of record income inequality, just passed something that gives $1 trillion just to the top 1% in tax breaks while taking $1 trillion out of Medicaid. That's not a pro-working class, pro-average American populist thing to do. He's serving the elites, the same billionaires who were all around him at his inauguration. He is their president, and anyone in this audience who still supports him after him screwing you over and taking your money to give it to wealthy people, you're being duped badly.
Yeah, it's weird. Massive tax cuts also for working class Americans who voted for Trump in the majority. Next
the
question.
poorest Americans lose money.
See?
The richest gain in that bill.
Yeah, so I've had a couple drinks, so I'm going to keep things high level, not as deep as last time.
That's good. That's good.
I also find
I feel like I've seen this guy on some kind of conservative podcast before. Like maybe he was like one of Steven Crowder's like side goons. I don't know.
common sense questions tend to be the left's kryptonite. I find myself a common sense individual, which is why I vote Republican.
I'm sorry, I just noticed this sign up here, this framed fucking shadow box with something that says the 2011 winner of the Celebrity Apprentice. I'm just noticing that now. Fuck, that's embarrassing. All right, let's go. Yeah, he did used to work for Steven Crowder? Fuck me. Did I really make that deep of a recognition? I haven't watched Steven Crowder in ages.
Common sense individual, which is why I vote Republican. My question is, you said two things tonight. One, you couldn't go 3 seconds without saying no kings earlier tonight. And you just brought it up again where you said Trump's evil and took over the government. I find this very ironic and comical because the left tends to just want to continue to give government more power and more power and more power. And basically...
Yeah, bud. The left wants to keep giving the government more power. That's why y'all are seal clapping every time Donald Trump violates the fucking Constitution.
You just ask them what they should do with their life and how to pay for it, and you see that with the New York City vote that just happened. And I guess I just want to know where the common sense is coming from on, you can say no kings to Trump, who if he was a king, he wouldn't know, he would have just waved the wand and there would have been no government shutdown. And at the same time, ask the government to be bigger and bigger and bigger and solve all your problems for you.
Yeah, so Trump keeps expanding the power of the government too. I mean, he's the most authoritarian president we've had in a really long time. So you don't really care. I'm not.
See, they're in a fucking MAGA bar.
Explain it, Bill. Okay, sending in. You just asked how. Sending in the military, for example, to American streets. But where's the common sense? I can tell you.
I gotta be honest, it really does feel like combining a bunch of these clowns with a bunch of alcohol in a bar and then having two lone left-leaning folks go on stage in front of them. How many of you remember that scene from the Blues Brothers where they show up to play blues in a country bar? It feels like that. It feels like bottles are going to start being thrown pretty soon. And I feel like it's only a matter of time until a drunk conservative tries to assault a liberal on stage here. You know?
Where the common sense is. I think we should be allocating our resources to uplifting and economic stimulus, which is why the economy performs better under Democrats, despite the whole monologue that Michael went on.
The history lesson he called it.
If we lean into demand side, which you had to come up with 100 excuses for why Republicans always fail in the economy. But demand side economics, where you actually invest, where people are going to spend that dollar the quickest.
the thing is, again, the level that this guy asked this question on is not oriented to the level that Luke Beasley is meeting him on. You know, the messaging is just passing one another, right? Like, this guy's like, where's the common sense in the government? And Luke Beasley's like, well, you gotta have a command side economy. And it's like, no, you already lost him. You already lost him with that, like, phrase alone. You can't do that. Sorry. Like, you gotta come back at him like, Republicans want a government where they can put, like, a government agent in your house to monitor whether or not you masturbate. Like, Republicans want such a small government that they want to be able to fit it inside your home and tell you whether or not you can have sex with, like, a man or sex with a woman. You know, like, you gotta actually meet them on these grounds. You know, you gotta make it simple, stupid.
Through social programs, people need it.
What is the point to debating to a staged audience? Well, that is also something we haven't really talked about, right? Like, I don't think that there's a huge point in debating in the Daily Wire's own arena. Like, I think that there's very little point to do this. Stuff like the Oxford Union debates, I think, is far more, like, defensible, because there are people watching who actually care about factual information, and it's moderated, stuff like that. But here, there's not really that big of a point. In other venues, you know, you're playing to whoever's going to view the video, but you know that the audience for this video is going to be, like, conservative chuds and, like, people who really, really like debate content, right? You know, if you know that that's the audience you're playing to, then you need to fucking play to that audience. And he's not doing that. Luke Beasley's not going to do that. Yeah, you got to treat the people who are going to be watching like how academics on Joe Rogan's show treat Joe Rogan, you know? You got to basically make really simple points and, like, handhold them to very simple conclusions, and that's how you got to start.
Instead of just keeping in an account somewhere, that's actually dollar for dollar way more stimulative. So I think instead of huge tax breaks to the top 1%, I think that we should be allocating those resources to, at the very least, not taking away healthcare from 16 million Americans. So I mean, that would be pretty common sense to me.
Or just funneling it overseas to random.
I mean, what about Jubilee? I mean, I think Jubilee can be entertaining, and I think if somebody's good at presenting their arguments and extraordinarily confident in presenting their arguments, like, it can go well. But you also have to keep in mind, for Jubilee, the vast majority of the people watching are going to be, like, children, right? They're going to be, like, actual literal children. And you have to, again, tailor your commentary, tailor your responses to the fact that, like, most of the people watching are going to be kids. And Sam Cedar was really, really good on Jubilee because he has a large fact base to draw from. He's been around for a while. And also because he has a really great way with taking complicated ideas and boiling them down to simple, like, you know, words. And yeah, he's also a very funny lad. It's true. As he said in, oh god, I am going to do a short rabbit hole here. I was watching this earlier today, and I thought it'd be really funny to play.
Calling from a 308 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it is Kowalski from the unusually warm state of Nebraska.
Kowalski from Nebraska. What's on your mind?
Well, Sam, I have noticed that in the last 2 weeks, you have not addressed something that has been going around the internet, and it just seems a bit suspicious to me.
All right. Do tell.
You have not once put your thumb on the scale of the discussions about the look-maxer clavicular getting frame-mogged by an ASU frat leader, which, sent his cortisol levels into the danger levels. And I'm just curious why, as a look-maxer yourself, you haven't touched on this.
So the mogging, can't even pretend like I understand what that means. I can't even clavicular doesn't look as good as the guy from ASU. Is that what it is?
Yeah, correct. He totally got frame-mogged by this. I believe it's called a Chad from.
Oh,
ASU,
I know what that is,
and it wasn't even close.
Oh no! I mean, I'm listen. I'm a Alpha Riz. I got Alpha Riz, and
I needed to play I've Got Alpha Riz for you guys. I had to.
a Chad Riz going on. So.
I mean, we know.
Chad Riz, Alpha Riz. I got Alpha Riz and Chad Riz going on. So.
I was dying. This video came up on autoplay as I was doing other tasks, and I fucking lost it. It's so fucking funny. And we haven't talked about clavicular on stream because honestly, I feel bad for him. I know he's a terrible person, but also genuinely I feel really bad. I pity him, so we just haven't talked about him. I know that the youngs really care about clavicular content right now, but I don't know. Maybe we'll watch the Michael Knowles clavicular interview. But I doubt it. All right. Let's jump back into this.
Non-government organizations, right?
Wait, what's that? How am I looking? Call a crackhead.
The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead.
Ah. We got that clip.
So, but what does that have to do with, are you okay with millions of poor Americans losing their health coverage because they wanted to give tax breaks to the top 1%?
Of course not.
No, I don't think that happened.
Well, then we agree.
I don't think that
and
quite
Trump's
happened.
bill's insane for that. Then we agree. That's awesome.
No, I think there's common sense things you can do with every dollar Americans pay.
Giving it in the form of more tax breaks to the top 1% when they're richer than ever doesn't seem very common sense.
Hey, Luke, is it the top 1%
The cool
that
thing is, I
benefits
think
from
we
no
agree
tax
on
on
that.
tips?
There's probably a lot
No
of
tax
social
on
things
overtime?
there's a lot of things we disagree on.
Child
the
tax
cool thing is,
credit?
I think on reining
Standard
in the power of the
deduction
elites, we should all agree. You're listening about
where
you're just
I
like a little.
disagree is I don't think you have the qualifications
But I'm not even
or
referring to
me
that yet.
to
I'm
talk
saying
about
if you,
fiscal policy
do you know,
at all.
Do you know the combined? Wait, what'd you say? Sorry.
Where we disagree is I don't think I have the qualifications or credentials or you to talk about fiscal policy at all.
And you think Trump does? He thinks the word
I agree.
groceries.
Luke doesn't have the. I agree with that. Yeah.
He thinks groceries is like a new word that he invented. Yeah.
Crickets. Okay, next question.
That's not true.
My question for Michael is, what watch are you wearing this evening?
It's an ad.
Now listen. I'm an author. I am a best-selling author of 2 books, one that doesn't have any words in it called Reasons to Vote for Democrats. Hold on. I gotta explain it. Reasons to Vote for Democrats, which it's entirely made of blank pages, and it sold a lot of copies, and my thesis is being proven very strong tonight.
It's Shoe on Head's beard husband? What? I feel like I've missed a lot of lore.
I think. Then I wrote another book with words that was due on the same day as my baby. And because of the great sale, because Democrats sold so many books for me, and because of the great Trump economy in 2021, I'm wearing a Rolex Datejust.
Very nice.
So to be clear, while millions of low-income Americans are losing their health coverage because of Trump's bill, he's getting a lot richer because of that same
Illegal aliens might be losing their health coverage, but other Americans are not.
That's not true.
Real Americans are not.
16 million.
Next question.
Wait, Michael.
Enough from you. Next question. Let's go.
See? Why let him control the show?
12 million American citizens. Do you notice how he can't answer those points?
He loves the word alien.
Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for taking all of our questions and for having so many interesting things to talk about. But in all of the complexity of conversation, nobody has asked directly, what is capitalism? And can you explain the differences between Democrats and Republican thinking?
I want to go.
Zena.
This is my thing. Everybody. Capitalism is an economic system in which the means of production are owned privately. Think of means of production as factories, as land, as the things that we use. This means of production are owned by capital, right? The things that we use to create capital. These things, this means of production are owned by a very small few. Not many people own the means of production. Most of us are selling our labor. Like, for example, most of you guys have a 9-to-5 that you go and you get a kind of a wage back, right? From capitalists, those who own the means of production. The problem is we assume that people who own the means of production earn that somehow, when really the people who did first acclaim the majority of these resources, it happened a long time ago and they kept passing it down generations. The problem is people who first came here, they did a lot of bad stuff, they took a lot of land, and their ancestors still own that land.
They were heroes.
The people who slaughtered and a bunch of people and then took all their land and then started profiting off of it and then also selling people's labor and their livelihoods for money. Those are heroes. Interesting point.
The Indians slaughtered a lot of people too, if we're being totally honest about it.
Do you want to compare numbers? I don't think that it would look good, right?
Well, we won the wars.
Yeah, you won the war by doing what, Michael?
Well, by settling the land and building a great country that you live in and that you prosper.
By taking land that people were already living on, by killing them, spreading diseases towards them, and also women. So yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
Happened all the time.
I have a question to your point.
That's what capitalism is.
I have a question to your point.
Republicans and Democrats both.
Like, you hear now exactly why you need to treat them with disdain, right? You understand? You follow? Like, the entire project here is to trigger or get someone upset and get like these clippable moments, right? And like, you gotta be triggering them.
Support capitalism, right? Of course. But capitalism is a system that is exceedingly failing as the gap between us and the 1% and people who own all this capital continues to increase. What's going to happen, especially as AI comes along that continues to be able to do your job, is that 1% of the population is going to own all that AI that can do your jobs. And what happens then when they can create the labor and supply it for themselves?
Okay, Zena, I have a question for your point. So you say that capitalism is where the means of production are owned privately.
Yes.
I agree with that. And you say that a very, very small number of people own the means of production.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, how many Americans invest in the stock market?
No, how many Americans have the means to invest in the stock market? How many Americans have the capital
there is an answer, I promise.
to invest in the stock market?
What's the answer?
Majority of the Americans are broke.
What is the answer? What percentage of Americans invest in the stock market?
Not many, because not
62%. So most Americans own the means of production.
How many Americans?
That is not ownership of the means of production. That's not how that works. And if it was, Michael Knowles, you would be calling yourself a socialist. But that's not how that works. When you own the means of production, you get to decide what to do with it. Owning, 1 out of 1 trillion pieces of stock is not ownership of the company itself. Like, I'm sorry, language just doesn't work this way. If you're saying like, oh, I bought a piece of Microsoft stock, so I own Microsoft. No, you don't. That's not how that works. No one... Like, Bill Gates owns the majority share in Microsoft and gets to decide what happens at Microsoft. Like, he owns Microsoft. You, with 1 share of Microsoft, do not own Microsoft.
Pocahontas was 13. John Smith was middle-aged. I don't call that asterisk. I'm Michael no less.
Indeed, Sake Tanuki. Also, Sake, you are up so late. Hope your trip is going well. Thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated, especially on a late night show like tonight. She's too smart for them. Well, yeah, that's kind of the thing, right? Like, she's doing a good job and having a good faith response to the question. The issue is she is not in the arena for good faith responses. A way of maybe visualizing it in your heads would be to say, you can be a world-class gymnast, but that doesn't really matter that much if you as a world-class gymnast are going into a UFC ring. Like, you can do some really fancy moves. You can do some, like, really cool contortions with your body that a lot of other people might not be able to do. But the other person's going to be doing a UFC fight. And, like, it's like a boxer in a UFC fight. Yeah, that is also good. You're not in the correct venue for this particular type of explanation, you know?
And how many Americans are profiting significantly from the stock?
62% because we have the highest stock market ever.
That doesn't mean that
Donald
everyone
Trump.
is profiting from the stock market.
They are. Everyone who's invested in it.
Again, the comeback here would be who owns 90% of the U.S. stock market? Who owns 90% of the U.S. stock market, chat? I'll give you a hint. It's the top 10% of Americans. So, the top 10% own 90% of the stock market, and the other, 52% of Americans who own stock are splitting up that remaining 10%.
Everyone's invested in the S&P is doing great.
Dude, that was a horrible...
It is time for round 3.
God, round 3, we did it. We made it through.
I totally think negging is perfect when debating conservatives. The more condescending, the better. It's 2:30 p.m. in India right now, so no issue with time zones.
Oh, damn, you're on, like, the exact other end of the planet from me. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 additional Tier 1 subs, and I do have to say, I've been saying for this entire debate, like, if you're gonna go on a Daily Wire debate show where they're hosting it in a MAGA bar, you have to come to, like, play dirty. You gotta be mean. You gotta make Michael Knowles look like a little bitch. Like, that is your task. Your task is to walk into that room and make him look like a bitch. Because that's, like, in the mind of a MAGA conservative, the worst thing you can look like. And I will say, like, I think she gave a great response. But, like, she really needed to, like, I think cut it at, like, private ownership of the means of production, and then, like, really emphasize that owning a piece of stock is not owning a company. God. But I think she did really well.
No, Michael. Who won the round?
Oh, who won the round? I thought it was a given. Okay. I'm seeing a lot. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of red. That's great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Who wins the VIP round? I'm going to say the watch guy. The watch guy wins it because he has good taste.
Where's the watch guy?
And now, without further ado, it's time for round 3. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm going to go first on this one because I don't know if this is going to be a winner, and I think I'm actually on the lib side for this one, but I'm right. My argument is, they know it. They see it coming. They read my Twitter. I think that HOAs are awesome, and I love them, and I hate the athletes. I could be dragged out of here and killed by the audience.
If you play a pigeon in a game of chess, you'll beat him, but that bird will still strut around, knock over pieces, and shit on the board like he won.
Yeah, which is why if you're playing chess against a pigeon, you gotta go blah and then, like, scare it and then it'll scuttle away. You gotta play on pigeon terms.
Okay. All right, Zena.
All right, listen, guys. We've already done my 3rd topic. Let's get back to toxic masculinity again. Am I right? We've already done. Come on, people. All right.
Okay.
We got a bar full of people. And you want us to debate HOAs.
And how awesome they are. It got them rowdier than anything tonight.
Okay, my 3rd claim is Trump hates the working class. You get the gist on that one.
That kind of fired him up. That fired him up a little bit, too. Mr. Davies, who was it?
Toxic masculinity.
It's tough because I'm in the corner. I feel like I'm getting biased. I got to be, like, right.
LB, this is a Daily Wire pilot show for debating liberals in bars but it's all MAGA. It's a MAGA bar. It's a Daily Wire joint. It's terrible. It is genuinely awful. And the entire reason I'm doing this is to tell my colleagues in this industry, don't do this. Don't go on this show.
In the middle for the decibel here?
Toxic.
What does it sound like in the middle of the room? Do that more time?
Toxic masculinity.
You got a drunk MAGA crowd and then two left-leaning folks.
But they wanted to go back to no, enough. We have enough in our culture. I kind of felt like Luke's topic won it. Trump hates the working class. No, you don't. Do you agree? No, all right, you'll disagree. That's fine. You want to do?
What is that Lando Calrissian ass jacket? That's a jacket from Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord wears it. It's a reproduction.
Toxic masculinity? Yeah. All right, that's fine. All right, Zena, what's your point?
Listen, men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than women, and the CDC attributes this to hyper-toxic masculine norms that have been spread amongst Western society. So what we're seeing right now is that, and listen, where are all the men out here? I want to hear it from the men out here. Where are the men? All right? This is a woman, this is a feminist, right? Arguing for you. I don't like that you guys are not allowed to express your emotions. I don't like the times that you feel insecure or sadder. And you can't express that. Where does that energy go? Oftentimes, that leads to men's deaths in bars when they feel this pent-up anger that they can't release in normal, regulated ways. And I don't think that's okay. A lot of men are turning to these podcasters who...
Wait a minute.
Men's deaths in bars when...
I do have to say, I really enjoy the specter of a threat on that statement being said in a MAGA bar full of MAGA men. You know, like, it leads to men's deaths in bars. And, like, the camera then zooms out and just shows a bunch of people in a bar. Oh, God.
And when they feel this pent-up anger that they can't release in normal, regulated ways. And I don't think that's okay. A lot of men are turning to these podcasters who tell them these narratives about how women are out to get them. And that's actually what's inhibiting you from getting laid, let me tell you.
True.
Okay? Women don't like that. What I'm telling... Let's be honest.
Within the context of marriage, she meant.
Let's be honest.
I think that's what she meant.
Let's be honest. You want to get laid and you don't want to be sad? You don't want to be a hyper-toxic man. That's my case. I think it's a pretty good one. So.
Okay, so we got to drill down. What do you mean? That's a very loaded term. What do you mean by toxic masculinity?
I think toxic masculinity is an accumulation of norms that say things like men should never be allowed to cry. It's a sign of total weakness. It's a failure on a man's part.
Okay.
A lot of people say that. In fact, podcasters with millions of followers say that.
Okay, now I have a question for you. So that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So you're saying men shouldn't repress their emotions and they should have some feels. Okay, so curiously enough, there was a study in 2021 out of UCLA. The study, I said, no science here. So there was a study, and it measured emotional repression in men and what that does. And what it found out is that emotional repression in men is not correlated really with bad outcomes. It's correlated with better executive function. It's correlated with better goal-orientedness. It's correlated with better satisfaction. This was backed up in 2023 by...
That's right. So you should torture yourself until you're on the brink of, killing yourself, and then you'll be at peak masculine performance. Like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, there is no engaging with this point in a way that's like, well, Michael Knowles, I have a competing study. No, you have to be like, are you seriously advocating right now that, like, men should repress themselves until they're just about ready to kill themselves, but not quite there, and that will be peak masculine performance? Come on, get the fuck out of here. No one believes that.
Study out of Germany, which showed that emotional repression in men was associated with greater relaxation and less stress throughout all points of the study.
Okay,
Isn't
so
that weird?
you're telling me that suppressing your nervous system and not regulating your so your emotions have to do with your nervous system. You know
but they're more than your nervous system.
Because
we're more than
but
flesh.
that's a component. So why did you say no? Anyway,
because we're more
so
than
with
flesh.
That being said, so you're saying that suppressing your emotions.
Now, sorry, so I don't know what study he is talking about directly, but when I Google emotional repression in men Germany study, what I find as the #1 result is this: real men don't talk, relationships among depressives, loneliness, conformity to masculine norms, and male non-disclosure of mental distress. Let's look at some of the highlights here. Depressiveness directly increases likelihood for men's non-disclosure of mental distress. Oh. Depressiveness increases the likelihood for non-disclosure through loneliness and conformity to masculine norms. Number of trusted contacts is an ambivalent factor in the process of non-disclosure. Innovative, individualized assessment of trusted contacts through network approach. Well, that's so interesting. Let's find out what they concluded here. Just out of curiosity, huh? Let's see. Findings of our survey provide important insights into the processes leading to men's non-disclosure of mental distress. Only a few studies so far have examined the relationships among factors implicating male non-disclosure. A particular strength of our approach lies in the... Let's see. Okay, regarding the practical implications for mental illness prevention and communication campaigns, our study can inform mental health interventions in several ways. Firstly, these interventions could and should aim at raising awareness about the dangerous silence of depressed men among the general population. This could also make the trusted social contacts in depressed men's social networks aware of the issue of non-disclosure. Secondly, and related to this, interventions should aim at addressing feelings of loneliness and making clear that men affected by depression are in fact not alone. Thirdly, since traditional masculine norms significantly contribute to the non-disclosure of mental distress, it does make sense to design interventions tackling these norms among men themselves, but also among other gender groups and even health professionals. Oh, that's so interesting. It's almost like this study from Germany that Michael Knowles was talking about was completely undermining what he was talking about. Weird.
Emotions and not releasing them, which means emotional dysregulation.
No, that means emotional
that
regulation.
means emotional dysregulation. Emotional repression is emotional dysregulation.
No,
yes,
quite
100%.
the opposite.
Do you know what
regulation, obviously, yeah.
Women and men are different on a mosaic basis. A lot of the traits that men exhibit in the brain are very similar to the traits.
I'm sorry, when you hit the mosaic basis, like everyone in that audience immediately checked out, you know? I do gotta say, the biggest flex possible would be to know what study he's talking about and to tell him to his face that he's making shit up. But if you don't know what study he's talking about, and he was extraordinarily vague in talking about it, it is really hard to counter what he just said, specifically because he responded with complete bullshit, but you would need to be able to look up his bullshit to know it's complete bullshit.
That women have. And the vast differences in violence that are perpetuated against men cannot be explained by the differences that come from the brain. Biologists and psychologists agree on this. What's happening is that norms in society reinforce negative behavior from men. And once again, the CDC agrees with me, right? So again, when you call emotional repression, emotional regulation, you're committing a...
Also, you gotta know your audience. The CDC, the people in this audience fucking hate the CDC. All right. Any Republican watching this is going to be like, "Huh, fuck the CDC. They put COVID in me." You know, they're gonna be like, "You lost them. They're gone."
Fallacy that's not only harmful but damaging.
Here, let's just try to define our terms then, because that's fair.
Course.
It seems to me that when I really want to have an outburst, I want to yell, I want to cry, I want to beat the table with my emotions. If I suppress that, and if I say, "No, Michael, don't do that. You're going to look ridiculous. You're going to look like you're on the other side of the aisle," then what I am doing is I am controlling my emotions. In other words,
oh my God, Michael, being a healthy person is being able to express your feelings in appropriate manners.
Who orders Corona, gets lime garnish, then doesn't even use the lime?
Right? I've been thinking that the entire time. It's very weird, right? Like, is the lime just there to, like, look pretty? And limes do look pretty. Objectively, a very sexy fruit. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the tier 5 tier 1 subs. Part of being an adult is being able to feel your feelings in a healthy way and express those feelings in a healthy way. This is something that is typically taught to very small children, but in a lot of toxic masculine, circles, what gets reinforced for young boys and men is, well, the only healthy way to express your emotions is through violence. And so that in turn becomes like a pretty big tripping point where Michael Knowles inadvertently tells on himself here, right?
It's going to look like you're on the other side. That when I really want to have an outburst, I want to yell, I want to cry, I want to beat the table with my emotions. If I suppress that, and if I say, no, Michael, don't do.
If I want to yell, if I want to cry, if I want to beat the table. Okay. 2 of those are inappropriate, responses. One of those is an appropriate response, but you probably want to do it maybe more in private. Not when you're at work, not when you're on stage. But the issue is being able to express your feelings in a healthy way that doesn't hurt other people, that doesn't scare other people, and that communicates how you're doing so that other people can treat you with kindness and dignity and respect. But if the only way you can express your emotions is by punching a hole through drywall, that's a pretty big problem. This just in, apparently coping mechanisms are woke, right? Apparently deep breathing exercises to restore brain function is too woke these days.
Jesus wept and grieved when he heard about Lazarus dying. Should Christ have repressed his emotions, Michael?
Maybe if Jesus had been repressing his emotions, maybe he wouldn't have died on that cross, because he would have been operating at peak masculine perfection. Craig Hornick, thank you for the $5 super chat. Michael Knowles out here arguing against Christ.
Do that, you're going to look ridiculous, you're going to look like you're on the other side of the aisle. Then what I am doing is I am controlling my emotions. In other words, and when you control something, you are regulating that thing. So that's what the word
regulation, means. That's not repression.
But
There's
you
two
said
different
emotion.
things.
I'm saying that's emotional regulation, and you.
No, emotionally repressing yourself is not the same as having healthy mechanisms to regulate your emotions. Those are not the same thing.
And that's the opposite. So right. So you cited some study, which I'm going to have to look up after this, right? That says that emotional repression is somehow emotional regulation, which is not true. Repression is
entirely.
It
doesn't say that.
Emotional repression is entirely different. If you're talking about emotional regulation,
you just agreed with me that regulation is when you control something.
Yeah. But you said
but not with your emotions.
Repression is entirely different, right? I'm talking about these ideas of men not being able to exhibit emotions like sadness. Sadness is an important emotion that all humans, regardless of sex, experience. Can everyone agree that sadness is a normal human emotion?
Yes. We feel it. Yeah, we feel sadness.
Okay, perfect. So when you experience sadness, doesn't mean that we need to have an outburst every single time. There are many different ways to regulate your nervous system. That includes deep breaths, but that doesn't mean that you should go your entire life as a male without crying. That is not normal, and it is unhuman.
No one says you can never cry.
A lot of people say that.
Okay. No one says you could never cry. Why, my dad told me that I could cry when he dies at his funeral, and I feel like that's a lot of different times you can cry. Every man gets one.
Okay, so let me just say, I think a part of what you're talking about is there is a group. Oh, is there more drinks for me? Yes.
Another one?
There is a.
See, this is another thing about setting the battlefield. They're getting these left-leaning folks drunk on their show so that they say stupid shit.
Another one?
There is a.
The real all-stars of the night, right there.
This is for you, Michael. There is a group of influencers who try to tell a generation of young men that the source of their problems. Just let me get through this, and I'm going to throw it to you.
I didn't interrupt. What is he accusing me for? I didn't interrupt at all.
Just getting prepared. That the source of men's problem is that women, for example, on Tucker Carlson's recent interview with Nick Fuentes, Nick said the source of men not being able to find relationships is women essentially are the problem, and they're getting too loud or whatever. So I'd be curious to ask you, because there's, a little bit of a debate on your side, where do you stand on Nick Fuentes?
He's not like my best buddy, I guess you would have to say. Yeah, I wouldn't say we get along.
He's not my best buddy, but you know, we're on the same side at the end of the day.
Very well.
Oh, good.
No.
Wait,
but he has half a point on the women, which is that the problems in relationships are basically
women.
half caused by women and half caused by
But I
men.
never hear the problems about the guys. That's the problem. There is.
You got to listen more closely.
There is a whole message about how I guess they've just become too liberal, or they're taking birth control and sleeping around the town too much. And I think that a message to men about taking ownership, becoming better men, and becoming more appealing in the world is much more compelling than this sort of Nick Fuentes does about how, woe is me, my whole life is so hard getting girls.
I mean, over the half.
I will say, for the very first time, Michael Knowles seemed genuinely uncomfortable with that question, and I would say keep hammering that particular point. You know, like, he's not my best friend. So he's kind of your friend, like a little bit of your friend.
The people in this bar.
Did you guys hook up on Grindr?
Are women, and I'm sure a lot of us recognize there are a lot of problems with the dating pool nowadays. I mean, there's like a lot of things that women can express that we have issues with coming from men, but we don't take this drastic stance that men are the root of all evil.
Yeah, like throw in a comment about like Michael Knowles being on Grindr, you know, just like, you know, rankle him a little bit.
And they're destroying the world. I mean, clearly, I don't think that's any of our position. So it's really interesting that these incels and these podcasters are making the exact opposite point, and it's actually getting to the point where we're seeing men in bursts of anger, again, getting to my point, going out and actually killing women out of anger. We're seeing influxes of these cases, especially since, you know, recent events. That's not okay.
I thought didn't you just say men kill themselves at a much higher rate than women, and men die earlier?
Yeah. One of the ways men kill themselves is by doing mass shootings.
The funny thing, here's the thing, men kill themselves and other men and disproportionately kill women as well. So when it comes to killing, men, they top the charts. That's the problem.
Yeah, men are more violent and stronger than women.
We love them.
We love men.
Me and Luke are besties.
We love men. I just don't want y'all to misconstrue. We just want them to take ownership, but we love them.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Men!
So look, in defense...
Just like you, right, Michael? Just like you, right, Michael? You were, and you know what? I'm sure a lot of people here too, buying your boxes of meat. You know, they really wanted all your meat
Nick,
for life.
Michael and Benzel Sharpener have all been on Thrinder.
I don't know if Ben. Genuinely, I don't get gay vibes off of Ben. Nick Fuentes and Michael Knowles, though, holy shit, they're gay. And Benny Johnson. Like a solid chunk of them, and maybe Steven Crowder too.
Of some of the reactions to feminism that you're pointing out, I think for a lot of men, obviously anything that's toxic is bad for you, so no one likes that. But you have to drill down. So, like to the point when you said that, well, toxic masculinity is when you don't cry a lot or whatever. I say, well, actually, no, it's actually good for men to control themselves. That's a healthy masculinity. And I think a lot of what men are feeling, especially young men are feeling, is they've been told for their whole lives that they've been told from their teachers, from the media, from the government, that they are evil, that there's something wrong with them, and
again. I do wish the answer that had been given earlier did a better job explaining what toxic masculinity is, because it let Michael Knowles then jump in like this. You know, like toxic masculinity are the ideas in parts of masculinity that hurt men and hurt people around men. Like that's it. That's all toxic masculinity is. That's it. Like, you can take those parts out of masculinity and have a healthy masculinity, the healthy masculinity that I think everybody would like for the men in their lives. But, like, now he gets to roll in with this bullshit.
That they need to be more effeminate and that they need to be less manly.
Right,
yeah,
so
I think
weird.
so. You can deny it, but I think they've heard that.
I always got Ace vibes from Michael Knowles. I'm sorry, have you seen the intro to Michael Knowles' show? Have you seen the intro to his videos? Let's just play that real quick.
A left-wing anarchist who set off an involvement with U.S.
There it is. that's not even... He's had multiple versions of the intro to his show, and this isn't even the gayest one. Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I'll have to find the older one. Yeah, bit fruity, you know? And I say this as somebody who's bisexual.
Luke gets to finish his point.
I think this bell's rigged.
He started talking. I'm going to carry that around every time I'm around Luke, actually. You can finish your point.
What? I can't?
Yes.
Oh, good. No, I agree.
Did you have
I
a
mean,
point?
you shouldn't be telling men, you don't need to be more feminine, be whatever you are. But I think it's more like there is a whole group of people saying women should go back to being men's property. So that you denounce that, right?
What?
Nick
I think they should go back to being our wives.
Come on.
I think that's a good idea.
See, you
Okay.
don't even answer.
Next
It's so
one.
sad.
Yeah, I don't think they should be property. I think they should be wives.
Good job.
It's more fun to have a wife than property. Yes.
Well, that's what
good
your friends are
evening.
saying.
It's more fun to have a wife. It's still through the frame of ownership. It's weird.
How are you?
I'm great.
I also would love to talk about how Nick Fuentes is, but first we need to talk about how HOAs are, actually.
Hey! Now
It's a more pressing point immediately to my family. Actually, my family all lives in Pennsylvania. I'm alone. But regardless. Okay. Michael Knowles, give me your case for HOAs.
HOAs, this is what, and you're going to hate me for this. I don't care. Okay, they hated him because he spoke the truth, and I'm telling you the truth here. The HOA is a dividing line between the real conservatives and the libertarians, the L word. Because, let me tell you why. They say, oh, you like HOAs, you're a communist. Well, I'm not a communist. I don't want to live in a commune. I want to live in a nice neighborhood. And standards are good. I don't want to walk outside my house and see some ugly, stupid lib Lego house that they keep building. I don't want to see some dumb pride flag. I don't want to see any of that, okay? And so I like local governance to say, no, we have standards in this neighborhood. I don't want them to build some monstrosity next to me. All home renovations make the homes worse 100% of the time these days because people don't have taste. I want the not just merely the individual liberty, really licentiousness to put up a bunch of dumb signs in my yard. I want the exalted liberty to live in a beautiful neighborhood. And when my neighbors want to screw up my view, I can tell them no. And I bring down the full force of Francisco Franco upon them.
That's a pretty interesting comparison to make between yourself and a fascist.
That's awesome. So, if I have the obligation to obey the HOA, does the HOA have the obligation to subsidize my obligation?
No, you have to pay taxes to the HOA.
So I just need to pay them to obey what the laws that they set out.
Yeah. And that you set out. Because you could run the HOA.
As a member of my HOA, correct.
I mean, after reconverting to Catholicism, I am no longer libertarian.
Now we're
no
talking,
longer libertarian.
Baby. You're about to be HOA pilled fast. That Catholicism is the first step to taking the H pill.
I do have an HOA, and they do subsidize like tons of stuff. But I also live in a condo, so like that kind of relationship makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
but if I'm talking about like a home in a development, like if someone is going to tell me, oh, your grass has to be this height, like, I don't know, you're gonna effing mow it for me if I'm a single mom with 9 kids? I mean, obviously that's an extreme example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, listen, think about it the other way, though. Everyone always thinks of it as, I'm being controlled by the HOA and I can't screw up my house and put up a dumb pride flag or whatever. But think about it the other way. You get to control your neighbors and you get to make sure that like crazy libs don't move into your neighborhood and they don't build a bunch of
You get to control your neighbors. Seems to be an incredibly anti-freedom mentality. I hate it.
Monstrosities next to you that make your life worse every time you open your window.
I'm a great neighbor. I want you to know that. I'm a little sick of this. But he told me we were going to do HOAs, so I looked up some stuff about HOAs that I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
And now I'm very passionate that I'm against you.
No!
You're a despicable person!
No, I thought...
I'm sick and tired of you!
we were on the same side here.
No, I'm not. Now, the main problem, I think, is that so it starts with the developer, right? Then they hand it over to some group of homeowners.
Some Karens, he says.
Thank you. Yeah. And the problem with it, the reason people don't like it is all the homeowners don't actually get a say in it. A lot of these HOAs have like 3 board members for a bunch of homes, and then they just lord over everyone, and no one wants that because this is America.
See where he actually got the audience? The actual audience here responds to drunk, basic-ass bitch arguments, okay? That's what you needed to bring that energy from the beginning. That's the level you have to be operating on. You have to be drunk mean girl and drunk patriot, okay? Those 2 things will resonate through everything else. And then just sprinkle little marks on top, okay? And then you're good.
But with that being said, there should be HOAs. They should just be democratic among all the homeowners.
It seems the masses are turning blue. I don't know.
Hold on, are you now? What side are you on? See, don't fence sit on an important question like the
this?
HOAs.
Where do I stand on HOAs?
You're with me and you know it. You just don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit it.
It's interesting because I'm a person of the people. So it's like whatever the people
you're going
want.
to become a Republican to pander to the people, to the libertarians.
I mean, hey, I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm a grifter, but like, I mean, no. I would say, I mean, I don't live in a lot of communities where I'm very scared of my neighbors, like, putting up something that I'm so afraid of that it's, like, going to, like, lower
We love pride
the
flags.
value. You know what I'm saying? Like, put up the pride flag. I mean, that's personally me.
No,
I know,
what about
I
a
know
Trump
the
flag,
audience
though?
is like, that's where I cross the line.
There you go.
You know,
There
you're
you
crossing
go.
a line.
There you go.
You're crossing a line there.
All right, now hold on one second. I want you to go to brickhousesale.com. Here is something you do not see every day.
There weren't enough ad breaks in the actual live show they did, so they had to add one more. So cool.
Restrictive dieting to your routine, and Field of Greens, the only super fruit and vegetable drink that has been shown in an actual university study to help slow aging. They even guarantee you will see health improvements your doctor will notice. That is very bold. Plus
Start applauding for the lib topics. Because I listen to Michael talk every day, so I know what he thinks. I want to know what he thinks against what they think. So please help me out. We're not cheering for them, we're cheering for their topics.
We're not cheering for them because we all hate them, but sure.
I don't think that was clearly communicated before.
And you listen every day. I love that. That's great.
I tell people that Michael Knowles is my internet dad.
Stop
When I don't know what to do,
Stop
I
it.
just listen to Michael Knowles and he tells me what to do.
Something's wrong with you.
That's great.
Real. Well, the only thing is I'm not Catholic, so I'm sorry, but...
Not yet, but hey, that's good. I'll take it. That's good. I'll
we
take
all
it.
love
That's
Jesus.
right.
All right. So my question is for you. I am a recently converted financial professional. I was a studio art major at Liberty University, lost my job unexpectedly, and then girl bossed my way into finance. I'm surrounded by men all the time. They talk about football. I don't know what the heck's going on most of the time. But I do know that there are 2 ETFs that people love. The Nancy Pelosi one, NANC, and the Cruz one, KRUZ. Since inception, 2023, Nancy Pelosi's ETF has a return of 19%. The Cruz one only has like 13 to 16% range since inception. My question is, your claim before was that Republicans are what for the economy?
Better. Oh, worse.
Better. That's a Freudian slip. If I know
Called a
myself.
Freudian slip is what that's called.
Okay, well here's my question: if Republicans are worse for the economy, then how come Nancy Pelosi's tracker is doing so much better than the Republican one by almost 3 to 6%?
Because Democrats are better at the economy. That's why.
No, because I think that
they're better.
Is insider trading better for the economy?
No,
Insider trading corrupt information?
Yeah, so insider trading is horrible. I think Nancy Pelosi shouldn't be able to do that. I think every member of Congress shouldn't be able to do that, obviously.
Then maybe we're more
Okay, wait. Democrats have been fighting for that a heck of a lot longer than Republicans have. And the reason I don't like it is because it could lead to corruption, which is also why I don't like Trump's meme coin, his UA, etc.
His UA what?
His AI, I should say, his AI chips deal.
Okay.
With the UAE, and his open brazen corruption with funneling money to. So it's the same reason I don't like the Pelosi stuff or anyone else using their insider information. I think it should be banned. I don't think Trump would ever sign that into law.
So I've been, while all this has been going on, I've also been trying to find Michael Knowles doing like his dance intro thing, and I haven't been able to find what I'm looking for. However, I will say I have found some interesting things like this.
Human.
Yes.
Yeah. Being gay.
Just my being gay has helped my career. Your being gay has helped your career.
But you're not gay.
Can we answer the question, please?
So I'm going to say, so I'm answering for you.
Yes, being gay has helped my career.
In that you're not gay, I think I have to say no.
Dave,
Am I missing
you're
something?
so closed-minded.
Yeah.
You know, this is
because
a typical closed-minded conservative.
Yeah.
Gay. Has multiple meanings.
And you are gay.
And I am
that way.
pretty.
You are.
And
you like
witty.
all those words.
Yes. And
yes,
gay.
You
and
talk
I do
with
think,
your hands.
You know, and conservatives, they're always so.
Is this AI? No, it's from a dumb fucking spin-off show that Michael Knowles does with his guests.
And angry and stuff, but I think I'm pretty gay.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a gay conservative.
Right. Like if before gay meant homosexual.
Yeah.
There would be a bunch of guys at the bar.
Yes.
They're having a gay old time.
I can't believe
and
I
that
have to
you
do
would be
this.
one of them.
You know, I think being a little light in the loafers has helped my career.
You are the very definition of gay. You are the gayest.
To this very, very gay conservatism.
We did it, Knowles.
Well, it's amazing what comes out after a few drinks.
I enjoyed being on YouTube.
Yes.
We had a good run.
We had a good run.
Yeah, you big homo.
See you.
Like, bro, this is literally the shit I would say while closeted. Yeah. This is still happening.
I don't think Trump should be profiting off of his presidency either.
So do you think, that's a very reasonable point, but do you think, like with Pelosi, I think we're all just admitting she obviously insider trades and it's totally ridiculous.
It's too good. People put that in their 401ks and they're making so much money.
I love how apparently in the conservative mind, Nancy Pelosi is the only one who's trading stocks while being a member of Congress. It's like all of them. It's like all of them, okay?
Yeah. She's like the best hedge fund manager in the country. But with Trump, it's not to say that there aren't questions, you know, about, he obviously he's an international businessman, he has the crypto thing, he has all that. I'm just saying.
You're against it though. You can't be against it for Pelosi and then for Trump.
No, I guess, I think what Pelosi is doing is illegal for every American other than members of Congress.
Right.
And what Trump is doing is really not illegal in any way.
What?
So you might say you don't like it, you might say we should pass laws against it.
No, there's plenty of laws.
Isn't it also
does get a
true
little
that
murky.
Trump is the only president to take a pay cut in office?
No,
so
he's
why?
that's not true.
He's
Yeah,
making
he's
sorry,
making-
I'm not
right now.
anything.
His net worth
I'm just
is
an
in-
art major, dude. I don't know.
His net worth has increased by billions just since he got in office. So, I mean, just be consistent. I've been very consistent. Be consistent.
I am
You
being
are
consistent.
obvious. If you did one story about Hunter Biden, you better be 100 times as outraged at Trump getting the UAE to invest billions, make his World Liberty Financial billions in a business deal, and then immediately, all of a sudden, he releases the restrictions on the AI chips that they really wanted, and which could then get into China's hands because he was enriched. Same thing with the Binance guy. He ends up pardoning the guy after Binance makes a bunch of money for World Liberty Financial. That's brazen corruption, right?
Yeah, I guess my point is on some of these. No, I don't. You know, on a lot of these financial dealings of Trump, a lot of it occurred during the interregnum. You know, the crypto thing occurred before he was brought in.
No, not the UAE deal.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you brought up crypto earlier, which is usually the one that most people point to.
I'm saying, how could you justify someone giving benefits to either people through pardons or countries through restriction relief after that country or that person enriches his family to the tune of billions?
Yeah, I think that President Trump has done a very good job being.
This is the first time Michael Knowles has really been on the back foot.
An international businessman,
What are you
leveraging
doing?
relationships
Why are you
for the
giving,
good
like,
of the
weird
United
talking
States. I think
points?
that's true. And what I
How
also
could
think.
you be wait, were you ever mad about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden?
Yeah, I was mad that the Biden family
Well, then I
sold
can't
American
take you
influence
seriously.
and
You're mad
fired a
because Hunter
Ukrainian
Biden
official
was
in
having-
order to enrich his son. Yeah,
I
I
can't hear
think
you.
those are different.
Biden you never found evidence linking him to Hunter, but even so.
You never found evidence. The money went straight to his house.
That's not true.
It did.
What about the multiple billions of dollars funneled to Jared Kushner by Saudi Arabia for no reason, that the Saudi wealth fund accountants literally were saying, this doesn't make any financial sense. They don't have anything to offer us. And Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman said, no, don't worry about it. No, I'm sure it was done for very sound financial reasons.
Except for a reimbursement of a loan. But after all of y'all made of that.
No, this is, yes, two dads smooching. This is what I mean. Like, you need to be operating on a low fucking level and actually get his ass on the level of a drunk guy, okay? You need to, like, go in with the drunk guy mentality, okay?
Whole big scandal. And then Trump takes all over, and there's no ambiguity.
Yep, there's no-
and his sons are going around the world making a bunch of money for his
Like, the room is silent because they're listening to him. He's cooking here.
family, and then he's trading favors.
Yeah, listen, he has a very successful business, and his sons are businessmen. So that's
do you
I
take
guess
back everything about Hunter?
Certainly not. That was brazen corruption.
Why? What's the difference?
This is the
What's the difference?
Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Eric and Donald Trump Jr.
Someone in the crowd, I'd love to hear you explain that. You're so loud and proud, you don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the difference. Eric and Donald Trump Jr. have very long-standing business careers long before Donald Trump entered office.
They don't have
They
specific
do.
deals with people who need something from the government. They have new deals.
He doesn't want me to answer the question. He doesn't want me to answer the question.
You don't know what
He
you're
doesn't
talking
want-
about. Trump, you know what?
I can tell you the
Wait,
difference
one
if you
second.
want.
You know
Okay,
what
yeah.
Trump's doing? He doesn't need big tech to censor or whatever. He's censoring the media himself.
He's getting a bit off topic. He's off target, okay? He's yelling at the audience now. That's never a good look. You never want to be that guy. But yeah, this is not going well for our lefty friends here.
Wait, guys.
All right.
Wait, let me just add
Luke
one
successfully filibustered on the Trump point.
I just want to add one thing.
I think it's pretty clear. I think it's pretty clear who won that round. But I won't even. Yes, in terms
Just
of us,
missed it.
who won the round? Wow, I thought I was going to lose that because of the HOA thing. It is still red. That's awesome.
Wow.
We have
Shout out.
we have two libertarians up front who are disagreeing with me, but the rest understand.
Oh, that was about HOA.
It did get HOA. I think obviously who wins the question round.
Wait.
It's so clear. My daughter obviously won the question round. Great job, sweetie. That was
Only
great.
thing is, Michael, I do have a question for you
Lay it on me.
and your daughter, though. I mean,
And my daughter.
she explained that she switched from being an art student to, I believe, getting into finance, right? I mean, according to you, shouldn't she be training to be a wife?
Well,
I don't know.
All ladies are training to be wives unless they're training for religious vocations or a sort of consecrated single life.
But isn't it
in the meantime, it's wonderful.
She was a plant. They're all plants. This is a MAGA bar. It's probably the closest bar to like where the Daily Wire actually like does their jobs,
With practical skills to manage the home economy, as well as artistic skills
Isn't it kind
to promote the leisure of the household.
Isn't it kind of feminist of her to pursue an occupation? I mean, isn't that a man's role?
No, listen, it's very conservative to deal in the practical realities of a world, and she's a very young, lovely
So you
lady.
do think
and when
that
she
you-
gets married, perhaps her career will change.
Should women have
Okay.
occupations and pursue occupations in the workforce, or should they be
Generally
housewives?
speaking, and surveys reflect this, and common sense reflects this, women tend to be happier raising a family than working in the witchy factory. Generally speaking,
You should drop out, according to Michael.
No, not
I mean,
at
how
all
does that
times.
feel?
I'm not saying women should get married at like 12 or drop out of school
I mean,
or something
Michael
too.
is saying that you shouldn't pursue an occupation. You'd
That's
be
not what I
happier
said.
being a wife.
She's totally misstating what I said.
I mean, no. You explained that.
She's got him here. She's got him. I like this. I like this. This is good.
Women are happier being mothers, so they should stick to being mothers, right?
This is a very young, lovely woman.
I mean, can
she
you
might
answer
not have not missed her right
Can you
yet.
answer the question?
I am answering the question. I don't think women should get married, right when they pop out of the womb. I mean, there are other things to do. They go to school.
It's really weird that that's where your head went to, Michael. That's pretty fucking weird.
They can work jobs
Let
for
me
a while.
let me be clear. So before I have a family, I'm allowed to have a job, but then once I have a family, I'm not allowed anymore.
No, you're allowed. It just probably will not make you quite as happy.
Also, I just want to point out, deeply weird to talk about a baby being a woman. Does that not strike anyone else as like deeply fucking weird? Like, you don't come out of the womb a man or a woman. Okay? Like, let's be clear about that. You're a fucking baby. Like, yeah, that fucking baby's not going to be getting married because it's a baby, not because it's just not because it's like a woman. It's a baby. Stop it. Stop being fucking weird. Stop it. Conservatives, stop being weird challenge. Level impossible.
Is raising a family.
I mean, I just want to know, like, for the women in here, like, once you have a family, do you plan on, like, quitting, like, your job and then just... A lot of people... So we're getting a couple mixed opinions. I mean, I just...
Sometimes that's flip. Sometimes that's flip.
I mean, I just think it's kind of ridiculous.
Still maintains the principle,
I think it's kind of ridiculous to assume that women's sole function as a contributing member of society is to stay at home. I think that women are.
I never said that.
I think that women. I think that women are duplicitous.
God, he's still not using that line. Also, did he seriously get sloshed off of like 2 beers?
And we can thrive in so many different domains.
Or duplicitous.
Yeah.
That means like deceitful and two-faced.
No. I believe that women
That is
have.
what that means.
I believe that women have.
Oh no, bad word choice.
Multiple. Sorry, I mean, I guess I must have misspoke. I mean, but anyway, I think that women have multiple different.
Freudian
multiple.
slip. I'm sorry. It was too
Wait,
good.
you think that women are like mischievous or something?
Mama here, I can chime in.
Go ahead.
I think that women have multiple different functions that they can display. There are multiple different strengths that women can have.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very interesting that conservative values seem to think that like women should stop working as soon as they have children.
I can't even hear what y'all are saying.
I don't know. I think you're a pyromaniac in a field of straw men. Okay, do we have any more questions? No. Okay. Before we go, the VIP table, sitting there looking lovely with that delicious Redneck Riviera bourbon.
Thanks.
Do you have a question that we have not discussed?
Well, now I have 2 things because we just talked about that. Conservative women don't think that you can't have a job. I think it's absolutely wonderful to have a job that you get satisfaction from if you don't have enough like intellectual stimulation from taking care of a baby with ooh ah ah. I definitely.
Wait, I thought being a mother and staying at home and taking care of the kids, like Michael Knowles was saying, was the epitome of what women strive to do. Should that not be the ultimate stimulation? Seems like it would be if that's what women were made to do, right? According to Michael Knowles.
I think that there's something magical about being home with your baby. Once you feel that pull, if you haven't had a baby yet, you just don't understand, and that's the bottom line. But once you do, it's a beautiful thing, and
There's something magical about being home with your baby, which is why I'm out here drinking at a bar, watching political blood sports, instead of taking care of my baby.
I'll definitely want to be home more often. Thankfully, I have my mom to watch my baby. So I will be going back to work because I have to at the moment, but the plan is to be at home with my baby when I can. Well, because there is something very wonderful about that connection with your child that you don't have with anyone else in the world, no matter how close your girlfriend group is.
Well, miss, you...
I don't know, I feel like you could have a pretty close girlfriend group, you know? Like, what if your girlfriend's smooch? You know? That's pretty close.
You sound a lot like a feminist right now, number one. It's only feminism that would allow you to ever have an occupation. Number one.
It's a little revisionist history, I would say.
Let me finish.
She getting too excited to go on the attack. Like, you gotta understand, this is the environment they're going into. They're going into an environment where all of these ghouls are going to, like, nod along and half, like, smile, laugh, and mock anyone who goes in there. She said almost nothing. She did say almost nothing. They aren't giving her a chance to, like, say a full thing because this isn't about a debate.
Let me finish. Whoa, guys. We were just on the same side a couple minutes ago. Chill. Now, number one.
The HOAs are over. We're in this territory
Number one. That was number one. Feminism is the only reason that women even have had the chance to work ever. And number two is...
I understand what she's going for here, but, like, the obvious rejoinder is that women have always worked. It's just, what did that work look like? You know, under capitalism, did that work look like doing the same work that men did? Did it look like doing the same work for the same wages that men did? Like, that's kind of the question here. But like, any conservative in that room is going to hear what she's saying and be like, huh, my great granddaddy did mine work, and my great grandma, she made pies for the local town, and that was a job. Like, it's gonna be something like that, you know? Like, they are not won over by an argument like this. You need to go dumber. Xena is super smart and has a lot of really good impulses in this debate. And I wish she had been able to talk more. She got talked over a fuck ton by Michael Knowles and Luke Beasley. But she needs to bring down her rhetoric to the level of the people that she is talking to and in front of, in my opinion.
Feminists don't disagree. A lot of most feminists, I believe, have children. Like, a lot of feminists have children. There's nothing wrong with having children.
You know, there was a feminist debate.
Anyone who told you that that feminists believe that having children is immoral, that person is chronically online. Needs to get off the internet.
So there was a famous debate in the early feminist movement in the 1970s between Betty Friedan, the American feminist.
That's not the early feminist movement. If you think feminism started in the 70s, you're stupid as fuck.
And Simone de Beauvoir, one of the founders of modern feminism.
I don't care,
and
Michael.
I know,
It's so boring.
But for the curious and intellectual people.
See, this needed to be the energy from the very fucking beginning. Just like, oh, you're citing studies like a nerd. Oh God, fuck this guy over here, always yapping with his fruity drinks. You know, you need to drink a real drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, God, Michael Knowles, you want to talk about homeowner associations? Like, that's kind of bullshit. We all already know homeowner associations suck balls. They suck donkey dick, man. Like, you needed to be operating on, like, that level from the beginning.
In the room, we're going to explain feminism.
No, we're telling what we believe.
So Simone de Beauvoir,
we believe
the
it's a choice.
founder,
That's it.
one of the founders of feminism, they had this debate, and she said, "Listen, I don't think women should be able to stay at home with their kids."
Are you debating her or me?
Hold on,
She's dumb.
my friends.
She's dumb.
You don't want to hear it because you seem immune to facts.
Are you debating her or are you debating me?
You said that feminism doesn't claim this, so I'm citing one of the foremost authorities on feminism ever to contradict your point, which is based on your subjective opinion.
I don't think you would want to know what a lot of conservatives have said, because a lot of
I also would say that, like, well, it's based on your subjective opinion. Well, so is saying Simone de Beauvoir is like the foremost feminist of all time. Like, that's a subjective opinion. People have different thoughts about different feminist figures. Yeah, Craig Hornick, the "I don't care" line from Sam Cedar does so much heavy lifting. You don't have to engage in like this rhetorical back and forth. You can just be like, I don't care. Talk about the actual subject.
I'm not built to suck your dick.
Sorry, wrong one.
I do not fillet Nazis.
There we go.
It has to do with racism and sexism. So it's like, I'm not going to define you and your values on the basis of what another conservative
filibuster because you don't want to hear my point. Okay, in my opinion, nobody wins a bar fight. Enough from Luke. There are only losers. So, who lost tonight? There's no winner. It's only losers. And we will have
Gee, I wonder how this bar is going to vote.
Show of cheers. You cheer for the biggest loser.
What?
Now let's start with Luke. Who thinks Luke lost? Okay. All right. Okay. You cheer if he lost. Who thinks Luke lost? That's very.
By the way, none of my viewers call me dad, and I'm really jealous of you.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would anyone call you dad? You look like you're 12. Grow a beard, then they'll start calling you dad.
That's all right. They call you mom. They call you mama. Okay, Xena. Who thinks that Xena lost? Really? I would have voted for Luke. Okay, now I know I might actually pay for my HOA opinions right now. Who thinks I lost?
Yeah!
That was one woman alone might have cost me this debate. It was me? Did I lose? No. Hold on. Okay, let's whittle it down. I think somehow Luke escaped. I thought he lost. Let's whittle it down. It's between me and Xena.
Wait. I think they just said that you lost, though. I think that.
No, but then they said no. Listen, I'll take it over the HOA. You say yes, no. Okay, hold on. All right, let's keep it fair. Let's keep it. I'm already disappointed because I wanted it to be Luke. Who says Zena lost? That's very unchivalrous. I feel bad about that. Who says that I lost?
That's my girl!
All right. That, with a woman down center, single-handedly cost me this debate. That's life. Okay. Thank you very much to my guests for being here. Thank you to the VIP table. Thank you to all of you. See you at the next bar fight. I love HOAs.
That was terrible. And I'm going to reiterate one last time. If you are in this space, to my fellow content creators, don't go on shows like this. Don't give in. Do not take the bait and go on these shows. They will use you blatantly for propaganda to make themselves look good, to make themselves look powerful, and most importantly, to make themselves look like they're not fucking freaks. These people are not normal. They desperately want to come across as like the norm of society, so that they can determine who is and is not in that norm. Don't let them have that ground. And if you're gonna go on this show, understand exactly what it is and what it is not. All right? But frankly, just don't go on shows like this. I already think you 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, should not go on something like Jubilee, and this is like 100 times worse than Jubilee if you're on the left. Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. Don't do this to your audience. And don't go into this thinking that like you're gonna come out looking great. It's not designed to do that. It's okay to debate them. Making it a game is bad. I have no problem with debating them as a concept. I don't have a problem with making it a game even necessarily. But the issue here is like Michael Knowles made the debate forum, right? Like the Daily Wire had control over every aspect of the audience, of how this is presented, how it's edited, all of that. And like they got like the folks that were there drunk in order to make them worse at debate. And like I think that ultimately you have to understand your battlefield. And I don't think they fully grasped what this was going to be, considering it was the first one of these. And again, you have to know how to reach conservatives. And I arguing facts is not going to reach conservatives. It's just not gonna reach conservatives. If you're gonna go in there, you got to go in there with a relatively broad knowledge base, and you also have to go in there and, frankly, operate on the level of the audience. However drunk that audience is, get that drunk and operate on it. Okay, have good rhetorical arguments at your disposal, ready to go, that are simple and stupid. All right. You need to literally have foolproof arguments if you're going to go into something like this. Yeah, you have to go in there with the mentality that you're there to bully Michael Knowles and any fascist that tries to step to you, okay? Yeah, you also can't care if the audience likes you, because they're not going to like you. Kyle Kulinski was the guy for this? Absolutely.
There's a certain Turkish saying, if a clown comes to the palace, don't expect the clown to become a sultan. Expect the palace to become a circus.
True. True. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And folks, that brings us to the end of this segment. What a wild journey it's been. So hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, do the things. Definitely leave a comment that's longer than 8 words, helps in the algorithm. And organize in your local DSA, organize in your local Dems. We need to radicalize our Dems, make our DSAs more effective. And that starts with you showing up, all right? And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, non-tucking lingerie. and it's designed to fit a wide variety of bodies. So we've got a lot of different folks trying it out and enjoying it. So check it out too. We got new styles, colors, and sizes coming in the near future. Check down in the link below in the description, and let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather around. Twitch and YouTube and switching streams. All that content is bursting the scenes. Politics, being plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack.